WTGZ Tuskegee, Auburn. Since 1995, Alabama's sports talk leader, Tiger Communications, proudly presents SportsCall. It's time to join our SportsCall crew as they discuss the latest headlines and happenings around Auburn and the entire sports world. To be part of the show, give us a call at 334-887-3401 locally or toll free at 1-888-9-TIGER-9. We're taking phone calls all show long and want to talk about whatever you've got on your mind. And now, coming to you live from the loveliest village on the plains, Auburn's first and Auburn's favorite sports talk show, SportsCall.
Welcome, Auburn, into the Thursday edition of SportsCall, live on Tiger 95.9, the Tiger.fm, and the Tiger Communications app. My name is Ryan Lavoie, the host of the program. Today, I'm joined by Jack Myrick and by Brooks Childress, a full 3 hours here on this Thursday afternoon as we broadcast live from our Auburn Bank studios. Coming up on today's program, we've got multiple guests to get to. At 3:30 today, we'll be joined by Justin Ferguson of the Auburn Observer. We will talk to Ferg about all things Auburn football, and we will catch up with him as Auburn gets closer and closer to the regular season. We'll also, at 4 o'clock, talk to Bill Bender of Sporting News. Been a while since we've caught up with Bill. We'll talk to him about the Big Ten because today on the program we will be getting into the Big Ten Conference. That will be in the 5 o'clock hour. We'll talk and preview the next to last of our Power Four conferences. Preview the ACC yesterday. The Big 12 was Tuesday. The Group of Six was Monday. SEC will be tomorrow. So, again, we'll talk Big Ten a little bit later in today's program also. And, again, we'll do that a little bit with Bill Bender at 4 o'clock. If you want to give us a phone call today to join us on the Sports Call phone line, 334-887-3401 locally, or toll-free 1-888-9-TIGER-9. The number to call us here this afternoon. Ryan, Brooks, and Jack with you here today. Jack Myrick, how was your Thursday, sir?
It is going all right. Cannot complain. A lot of, football is upon us. There's so much news happening around the league, the Shield, that I always love to talk about. But yeah, then we got high school athletics. Just week 2 for us. Brooks and I will be at the Trinity game tomorrow night. That should be a fun one. And then week 0 college football. It is like if you're hungry for it,
yeah,
they're bringing out the plates right now. Grab you one. So excited for that. Excited for the weekend ahead of us. It's going to be a really, really fun fall, especially I think the high school coverage is going to be fall that Brooks and I will be doing on the FM Talk 93.9. But yeah, just a fun little Thursday before we hop into everything in the weekend.
Absolutely. Again, we had another edition of the High School Coaches Show on Tiger 95.9 last night from Waldo's Chicken and Beer. And again, as Jack alluded to, going to be at Trinity this Friday on FM Talk 93.9 for the East Alabama Game of the Week. Also going to have another Beauregard matchup here on Tiger 95.9 at 6:30. So well within the high school side of things. And there's a couple big ones in the state on the high school side coming up tonight also. But Brooks Childress joining us now. Brooks, how is your Thursday?
It is great. I am doing fantastic here on this Thursday. It's been a fun couple days since I was last on the show. Me and the wife went out to Bandorama at Opelika High School on Tuesday night, and that was really fun to see all the local high school bands. You get them showcased each Friday night in their respective games, but sometimes, especially with us, we don't. We're going to be at different games all year long. We may not get to see all the high school bands, and me as a former band kid, Fuzzy had at halftime of the high school career. I really enjoyed getting out there and seeing all those groups. Shout out to all the local high school marching bands this year. They're also getting their season underway, not just the football team. They're part of it too, and so are the cheerleaders and everybody else involved with the high school football season. So awesome to see that. Last night, as you mentioned, the great edition of the High School Coaches Show. Myself, Walter Northcutt, out at Waldo's Chicken. We had 13 schools showing up last night, and so it was really awesome with that. We named our first player of the week. last night, and you'll be able to find that on our socials here very, very soon. And that announcement, and so that was awesome. Get that and get the flow of it going, and yeah, it's exciting. Getting back to some more Jackson High School football tomorrow night. Talking a lot of college football as we're so close, and yet so far. I know there's FCS games on tonight. One of the local teams to where I'm originally from, West Florida, making their FCS debut tonight. So that's exciting to see.
The Argos.
The Argonauts. Yeah, it's awesome to see the Argonauts get up to that level. They've done a really good job building their athletic program down there in Pensacola. So excited to see what they have to do, what they've got going on, and what they look like jumping up. The Braves winning the season series against the Dodgers. Who would have thought that coming into the season? Not I, not anybody. And so that's awesome. Get the unlikeliest of heroes last night. And then, yeah, as you mentioned, Ryan, so we got some big games. Obviously, our games here on the Tiger Communications airwaves tomorrow night. But tonight, Hoover and Opelika over at Bulldog Stadium. So I know they're still selling tickets over there. So get over there, check that out. It's a big game, the TV game of the week on the Alabama Public Television. So should be really fun. A lot of great stuff going on, and can't wait to talk about it. Can't wait to get to all of our guests coming up this show, and can't wait to hear how you're doing today.
I'm doing well, man. You alluded to it. The, I think, most shocking thing in the sports world last night was Ha-Seong Kim with a walk-off RBI single against the Dodgers. That was his first hit since June the 3rd. And
wow.
He had, for the record, I know it's not like he's played every day since then, but he had still played in 13 games between then and the Dodgers game. So that was still a plenty hardy hitless streak from Ha-Seong Kim, who does not have many on his season. I think Joe Davis lamented that on the Dodgers broadcast. He said, and a man that has not had a hit in almost 3 months walks off the Dodgers tonight. You're damn right. So that was a good one. I had gotten done with the Bucks show that I'm a part of and turned it on in the bottom of the ninth. I saw it was a tie game. I said, well, I don't expect the Braves to score here, so I'll just get ready to watch some extras. And then I don't even know, Brooks, were you watching or did you get off in time?
I did not. I was literally getting back here as that happened. Like you were texting and everybody was texting as it happened.
I didn't even know why Ha-Seong Kim came to the plate. I didn't know what kind of stars had to align for them to hit him with a runner in scoring position in a tie game in the bottom of the ninth. But anyway, Braves did get a good one last night, so that was good. I'm doing well. I believe I've said this earlier in the week. Will not be here tomorrow. Will not be here Monday and Tuesday. Taking some time off. Got a family vacation or abandoning them. Yeah, I hate everyone here. That's also very possible. It's in play. So
in our time of greatest need, he leaves us.
Right. Yeah. Football was so exciting. I just had to get far away from here and celebrate on my own volition. But got a family vacation. I will be passing where Brooks Childress was once a band member at some point tonight, I believe. And, taking a few days off. The show will go on. JJ will be hosting for, I believe, all 3 shows, at least Friday and Monday. And we will be at Suns Ford, we as in the show, next Monday. So you don't want to miss that. The last day of August will be at Suns 4. The guys will be recapping the Week 0 games and getting you ready for game week with Auburn and Baylor. So I will not be here for that, but I'll be back by the middle of next week leading into the season.
I looked it up really quickly to see what it was for why Ha-Seong Kim came in. So the Braves were making changes at the end. Somehow we got to the point where the pitcher spot was the 9th hole hitter. Somehow we got there. And Ha-Seong Kim was pinch hitting for the pitcher, Victor Medeiros.
Well, and you know what's funny? With an 070 batting average or whatever it was, many a pitcher would have hit higher average than that. Now, maybe not a relief pitcher, but if this was 3 years ago, I would have suggested just pinch hit Max Fried in that position. So how bad Ha-Seong Kim is. So, again, truly, it's one of those, how can you not be romantic about baseball when something like that
I'm trying to see if I can figure out
happens.
what defensive change was made that
started that slope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lane Thomas came in for Yastrzemski in the 5th.
Bit early for
he
that.
stayed in the game in left field.
I think he got the hit in the 9th to get on. I think he scored the winning run.
He was the winning run. The only thing I can see is Drake Baldwin remained in the game as a catcher after. I see what happened. So Drake Baldwin was the DH. Sean Murphy was catching last night. They pinch ran for Murphy, and they had Brewer Hicklin in running for Murphy, and then they just switched. They switched Baldwin to the catcher position, and then they moved. I guess that somehow moved the pitcher spot to the 9th.
You lose the DH when you do that. Yeah.
So Ha-Sung Kim, because they said let's have Drake Baldwin hit or be in the catcher spot for the remainder of this. Ha-Sung Kim strolled to the plate.
It's just one of those things where last year, there's just no way that works.
Yep.
And we're all like, Brian Snitker let the guy hitting 070 hit in the bottom of the 9th inning against the best team in the league, and then they lost in extra innings. Brian Snitker, what are you doing? Walt Weiss does it, and what? Great move. Won the game. Won the season series.
Excellent.
Great move. Awesome stuff,
Good
Walt.
work.
So just the funny things about the game of baseball sometimes. But all right, let's get going again. Going to be joined by Justin Ferguson at 3:30. Let's go ahead and squeeze in a phone call with that in mind. 334-887-3401 locally or toll-free 1-888-9-TIGER-9 leading us off today.
James from Montgomery.
James joins us. James, how are you doing today?
I'm good at War Eagle.
War Eagle.
I know that we're actually here for week 0, and it's going to look good for the college football season. I am excited and ready to go for this college football season to get underway.
Yeah, we are also. We're looking forward to Saturday.
Yes, as well, because I'm actually looking forward to Saturday as well and seeing how Bryce Bryant is actually going to do for his first time as Auburn football player as well, and I'm hoping he's going to have a lot of nerve. So I'm actually going to talk to him via Twitter. I'm going to give him some encouraging tips on how to overcome some nerves as well, because I know he's going to be kind of nervous playing in Atlanta as well.
Again, that will be in 2 weeks, or not this weekend, but next weekend. So not a part of week 0, part of week 1 in Atlanta. Byron Brown, the Auburn quarterback, getting it going. So we're getting close to that. Also, 9 days away, finally in single-digit days, but still got to wait one more week.
Yes, as well, because I'm actually I'm actually following him on Twitter, so I'm gonna actually give him some great restaurant spots in Atlanta. I haven't been, but I'll just recommend some good restaurant spots for him as well. So if he wants to, hang out in Atlanta, he can, before the week, before the first game, and he'll have a good time as well.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll be doing kind of the organized team stay and that sort of thing. But yeah, looking forward to it. Ready for the Out Skull era to get underway.
Yes, as well, because I'm actually going to see how this game is actually going to look, and the final score will be Auburn 38, Baylor 22 for this game as well. So it will be 38-22 Auburn as well.
Yeah, could be that. It was something very similar in Waco last year, and I think we would take a 16-point lead or 16-point win, so hopefully Auburn can get it done.
Yes, as well. And then for the WNBA season, did you all actually see that DeWanna Bonner actually signed to the Atlanta Dream, and she's actually going to be playing her first game with Angel Reese and in Atlanta, so that is going to be a very good thing for DeWanna Bonner to actually play in Atlanta as well.
Yeah, really exciting. She was with the Mercury all season, but as you know, James, they had a really disappointing year, and so she wanted to, with her career winding down, she wanted to be able to play with a team that was going to make the playoffs, and I think it makes sense. I think it makes a lot of sense for her to come to Atlanta, get back closer to the Southeast, where she went to school here at Auburn, and is able to play with a really talented Atlanta Dream team, and hopefully we can see her get maybe a ring before she is done with her career.
Yes, as well, because if she's going to actually play in Atlanta, I know that's going to be very good for her. And seeing the Atlanta Dream actually make it to a championship contending roster for the WNBA, because I don't know if I don't know if the Atlanta Dream ever won a WNBA championship league, but I just have to see when was the last time they actually played as well, because I know they're like a young team this year as well.
Yeah, Dream definitely have not been recently, but we'll make the playoffs this year, and we'll see how it goes in the postseason for them.
Yes, as well, because I know this is right around the month of September when it's playoff contention, so everything is looking very hot, and seeing my Dallas Wings actually play and seeing if we're going to clinch that spot for the playoffs as well. So I'm just going to see how things are going to look for my Dallas Wings, and they're going to take a week off due to the Women's FIBA World Cup that's going to start next week. So they're going to take a week off from WNBA games for that World Tour that's going to start on September 3rd as well.
Yeah, I got you. It looks like a couple weeks off, but yeah, they'll get into the postseason shortly after that, and we'll see how that one goes.
Yes, as well. And what about the NFL season? How do you all think about week number 3 that's going to start today as well? And who do you think that's going to play in the Super Bowl in the 2027 Super Bowl next year as well?
Yeah, it's a good question. Haven't really kind of finalized the Super Bowl picks, but I know everyone in the NFC really excited about the Rams and what they did in the offseason, adding Myles Garrett. I know obviously Seattle trying to defend their Super Bowl championship. AFC wise, certainly since the Patriots went last year, a lot of eyes on them, but a lot of eyes on how Kansas City will return with Patrick Mahomes, how Josh Allen and the Bills will do with a new head coach. So there's a lot of good storylines.
Yes, as well, because I'm actually trying to see for my future Super Bowl picks, I would like to see a rematch between the New England Patriots and the Seattle Seahawks playing in Super Bowl 61. And it's going to actually, Super Bowl 63, actually. I'm sorry, 63 for that Super Bowl pick. So that's going to be a really good matchup, and I would like to see those two teams actually play in 2027 for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, we shall see. They'll start the year in week number 1. They will kick off the season on Wednesday, September 9th in Seattle. So that'll be a excellent football game, and we'll see how that one goes. And obviously there'll be a lot of twists and turns to the NFL season.
Yes, as well. And then for the Little League World Series, how is Alabama actually doing for the Little League World Series? Do you think they're going to actually be champions on tomorrow as well? Because I know that they are playing tomorrow, but do you think they might have a chance at winning the Little League World Series?
I actually know they were eliminated last night. They lost 11-2 to Hamilton, Ohio, so that was their second loss. It is double elimination, so Phoenix City was eliminated, unfortunately, last night, but a wonderful run, wonderful story, and it was a joy to watch them play.
Yeah, it was really it was a really good time for me to see them actually play and represent Alabama. But I just wish them all the best of luck next year in 2027, and I'm hoping that they will do, great things this year as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Any final thoughts for us today, James, before I let you go?
The only final thoughts I actually have is I'm actually ready for the NFL fantasy draft that's going to be starting in an hour, and I'm actually going to be seeing if I'm going to pick some great players and locking in and getting ready for the football season.
Well, best of luck to you in your draft, and hopefully you get a great team.
All right, sounds good. Talk to y'all guys tomorrow. War Eagle.
War Eagle. That is James from Montgomery joining us on the Sports Call phone line. We got about 5 or so minutes left before we take our first time out and get to Justin Ferguson of the Auburn Observer. Going to talk to him about, of course, all things Auburn football, going through a mock game week and what does that mean. We have seen some of the things in practice here last couple of days, some of the news and notes. offensive line wise of note, Jacob Strand looks like he is going to be inserted at guard over Derek Plaz, the Miami transfer. So it looks like Auburn wants to go Joe Simmons. They want to go with Strand, Cole Best, Cole Skinner, and then Stanton Ramil at right tackle. That's what it looks like the Auburn starting offensive line will be. Unclear if they still plan to play Plaz or somebody else at some point in the Baylor game. Again, not traditional to rotate offensive linemen, but Auburn has hinted at times in the last couple of weeks they might do that against Baylor. And so that's of some note. And just again, I think that Auburn feels pretty good with what their goal is for every position, what they think the depth chart's going to be. I'm still a little bit curious on the dynamic of Omar Mabson and Bryson Washington right behind Jeremiah Cobb, what that ratio is. But again, we are now 9 days away, single digit, fellas. I know Jack was talking about the plates being served. I love all. I want to get every plate. I would like to grab every single plate and be very gluttonous this football season. But getting excited, guys.
Yeah, it's almost there, and
Yeah.
it doesn't help that we've had high school football for 2 weeks now. This is going to be the second week that you've gotten that taste.
Yeah,
And
right now is the appetizer.
Like I was lost. I would say this. I was lost last Saturday when after I drove home Friday night from high school football, and I woke up the next day and I couldn't watch football. Like it just feels like I need to be, if I'm coming home from a Friday night game, get home, wake up the next morning, I need to have College Game Day on my TV. But we have to wait. We have to continue to wait. But when you talk about Auburn, I think it is going to be interesting, like you said, to see what how it shapes out with that running back room behind Jeremiah Cobb, and just feel like what that use is going to be, because we know from December of last year when Golish had his introductory presser, they're going to run the dang football. And so what does that look like? Is it what does the distribution there, as you said, look like? Is it Cobb, here's a little sprinkling of the other two? Is it a sprinkling of just one of them every once in a while? Or is it really a big rotation where you're throwing different guys in there every couple of plays and seeing what they do? And we talked, we talked with, who did we talk to at Media Days?
Many people.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a tough thing to ask.
About rotation.
Running backs. My gosh.
Is Damian Harris?
Damian Harris, thank you.
I was going to
Gosh.
think if you're saying running backs.
Yeah, we talked to Damian Harris at SEC Media Days. I need to find some sort of pill that helps me remember stuff better. But we talked with Damian Harris at SEC Media Days about how running backs need to get into a rhythm, and how you can't just rotate guys in every other play because it's not getting them into a rhythm. And so it's going to be really interesting to see how that balance works out. Especially the Baylor game to kick things off, but when you get that first part of the year, because Baylor is a very important game. You're trying to get off on the right foot. You're playing a neutral site. It's a Power 4 opponent, but you're still I know you're not looking ahead, but in theory you're looking ahead to that week 3 when you get to SEC play. So you technically, once you get to SEC play, you've got 2 weeks to get that everything shaped up and ready. You want to have it done by Baylor. You want to be able to go out and have a great performance against Baylor, win that football game, yes. But when you're realistically looking at a 12-team playoff and what you need to get in, and I'm not saying Auburn's going to contend for a playoff this year right off the bat, but when you're looking at that and you're looking at those types of factors, that SEC schedule is where the meat and potatoes is, and that's where your season's going to be won and lost. And so you've got to use Southern Miss, and then, of course, you've got to use that Baylor game as the building. We're going to go into this game 2-0 the next week and try to get into it and try to make sure we've got everything ironed out here these next couple weeks. So I expect to see a little bit of different things over the first 2 weeks, and then everything to be ironed out by that SEC opener. But man, I football's so close. I can't wait to see it in action because there's only so much practice film I can watch.
Yeah, no, fair enough. And again, I think that they will, again, be playing a lot of dudes. I mean, this is, again, does not strike me as a team that's going to really lean on one or two particular individuals. And, we were already used to that defensively last year. Auburn played, I felt, a lot of bodies defensively, so I expect that again out of DJ Durkin's unit. But offensively, look, can I be honest? Last year, there weren't enough rushes to even notice if they were playing multiple guys very often. And that was that way multiple years. The number 2 running back was not going to have many touches because, well, the number 1 running back never got enough touches. So now there's actually a lot of carries to divvy up, and therefore there is going to be some interest on how they decide to do that, and there will be a real usage of multiple guys because of that. All right, let's take our first time out here of the program. On the other side of this break, we will talk to Justin Ferguson of the Auburn Observer. He'll update us on all things Auburn football, just 9 days away from the opener against Baylor. This is the Thursday edition of Sports Call on Tiger 95.9.
We need a timeout. Sports Call will be back after this quick break.
Weather brought to you by Auburn University Credit Union. Tiger Rewards checking at Auburn University Credit Union gives you the tools to manage your credit, monitor for fraud, telehealth services, loan discounts, and more. Visit myaucu.org for more details. Federally insured by the NCUA, Equal Opportunity Lender.
Rain chances increase and temperatures decrease for a change over the next few days. Highs this afternoon only in the mid-80s across the area. Yes, only. Compared to what we have had, a nice change. We'll see about a 50 to 60% chance of afternoon showers and thunderstorms developing in any one spot. Lows dropping to around 70 overnight. Friday, much of the same. Highs in the mid-80s. It won't rain everywhere, but it will rain in a respectable amount of places with, again, shower and thunderstorm activity in the afternoon and lows dropping to, again, around 70. I'm Ryan Lavoie for your Tiger Communications weather update.
Every day is a good day at Waldo's Chicken and Beer on South College Street in Auburn. Monday, test your brain with Trivia Night. Tuesday and Sunday, enjoy happy hour prices all day long. That's $5 pints and Waldo Ritas. Wednesday, the high school coaches show starts at 6 and Kids Night Thursday. And Friday, bring your valid student ID, and with the purchase of an entree, you'll get a free biscuit basket. Waldo's Chicken and Beer on South College Street in Auburn. There's always something happening at Waldo's.
The Atlanta Falcons are back in the hunt for a playoff berth, and you can come along for the ride. Tune in to your exclusive home in East Alabama for the Falcons. Tiger 95.9 all season long for all the hard-hitting action.
Still looking left, checks it back across the middle, intercepted on the backside. Jesse Bates, 20, 15, 10, 5, house call. Touchdown Atlanta. Jesse Bates has a pick six.
This new-look team has their eyes set on the playoffs, and you don't want to miss a single second of the action.
And here goes Bijan Robinson, 30, 35, 40, midfield. It's a foot race. Robinson 30, 15, 10, 5, house call. Are you serious? Oh, my goodness. He just went 93.
For a complete schedule of broadcasts, make sure to visit our website, thetiger.fm.
Snap spot. It is good. Fly home safely. Atlanta wins.
It's another action-packed season of Atlanta Falcons football on Tiger 95.9.
Brought to you locally by Kim Dry of East Alabama, Coca-Cola, Fairway Auto Brokers, the Honey Baked Ham Company, Jimmy's Car Stereo, and Miller Lite.
Summer's coming to a close, which means it's just about time to break out your fall wardrobe. And Macy's Labor Day sale is the best spot this weekend to refresh your closet before the new season starts. Head to Macy's for incredible deals on designer suits by Calvin Klein, Michael Kors, and more, or on women's tops by Tommy Hilfiger and other leading brands. Plus, there are sales across the entire store from 30 to 60% off. Don't miss Macy's Labor Day sale for the ultimate fall refresh. Happening now. Savings off select prices. Exclusions apply.
Straight Talk Wireless presents Pickup Truck Wisdom.
If you're only good to your new friends, you're not going to have any old ones. Straight Talk gets it. That's why new and existing customers get free 5G phones on Verizon's 5G network. Pretty simple, really. You keep good people by being good people.
Find us at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Straight Talk Wireless. Straightforward. Always. Taxes and fees apply. Plan purchase required for free phone offers. Copyright 2026 Verizon.
Follow SportsCall on Twitter at SportsCallAU. Like us on Facebook at SportsCallAU.
Welcome back to Sports Call, Tiger 95.9, the Tiger.fm, and the Tiger Communications app. Ryan Lavoie, Brooks Childress, and Jack Myrick with you here this afternoon as we are pleased to go to our Sports Call phone line where we welcome on Justin Ferguson of the Auburn Observer onto the program. Ferg, as always, the time is greatly appreciated. How are you doing today?
Doing well. How are y'all?
Doing great, Ferg. And look, if I told you a couple weeks ago that which would be more likely to happen, pro players try to come back to college or Ha-Seong Kim walks off the Los Angeles Dodgers, you would have said which was more likely?
I would have said pro players trying to come back to college just because there are no rules. Although I have been one of those guys who have been saying, like, I'd like to see Ha-Seong get a shot every now and then. He seemed to be doing all right in AAA. He just had such a bad come back from that injury. And I was so sick of watching Jim Jarvis play shortstop. So I've been like a little mini HSK truther a little bit. So didn't think he was going to do what he did last night, but it was fun either way.
It was the first hit since early June, and it came at a perfect time. So we were thrilled. Certainly power ranking wise, he has passed Jim Jarvis for us all. Mm-hmm. But all right, Ferg. So getting closer to this thing now, 9 days still Auburn and Baylor, and obviously next week we'll go through the particulars on this Baylor team. But Auburn going through a mock game week. So, again, just kind of what does that entail? What is Auburn doing differently than they were, say, a week ago with fall camp?
Yeah, I mean, I think fall camp is you're focused on yourself, right? You're doing a lot of stuff based on, running drills, repping your stuff, getting your install and all that, figuring out who you can trust. You get into game week mode, it's about preparing for an opponent. You have a scout team. You're going up against the other team's plays and their schemes and their systems and their style. You are specifically focusing on an opponent. You're game planning and preparing for an opponent. You get teams like to do this when before you start a season, you basically get an extra week to do it and go ahead and make you extra prepared for week one just because you have nothing to play off of in that week one. So you take that bonus help and get ready. So very much everything they did this week is going to be the exact same thing they do next week. Same schedule, same order, same all that. Want to be able to get all the details down right, kind of have a rehearsal run so that when they do it next week, they're not trying to figure stuff out. They're unfamiliar with it. It's get in that routine, lock in. And we know Alex Golis is a guy who's really focused on the details. So locking all those down before you do it for real next week was important to him.
Justin, you mentioned it jokingly a little bit earlier, but because there's no rules, there's no calendar anymore in college football. Nobody, anything can happen at any time. I know we had the SEC coming together and putting the restrictions against NFL players and pro players coming back to the league, but earlier in fall camp, you had the addition of Trey Taylor to this roster.
Yeah.
Do you think that Auburn may be looking out for anybody else to add here late before the season, or do you think they're done? This is the roster that's set?
Yeah, this is the roster, and I think Trey Taylor was just a speculative ad. He's not even cleared to play right now. because those fifth-year guys, those late fifth-year guys, you don't really get that extra year unless you have kind of a weird like injunction court thing. Auburn hadn't done that with Trey Taylor. I think Trey Taylor is a guy that you'd like to have as a scout team guy or just somebody who can help you out right now. And then maybe if you can get him cleared, you get to that point. But it's too late in the game. I don't think Auburn has any like overwhelming need where it's like we need to go snatch a guy, right? And it would be really hard at this point. You think about it. These guys that are on the field for Auburn right now that are practicing, they've been together for 8 months now, and they've been training for it. So it's like you're going to be way behind if you're trying to come in at this point. So this is pretty much it.
And then Justin, we're getting here, just over a week away from kickoff, and something that I talked about on the show a little bit earlier this week is we have not gotten the OR chart yet, and the depth chart with all the ORs on it, officially released to everybody. And so we were kind of talking a little bit earlier about the running back room and what that's going to look like. What do you think that distribution of carries is going to look like when we get to Baylor next week?
I would think your top two running backs are going to be Jeremiah Cobb and Omar Mabson at 1 and 2. It's kind of been the case. Bryson Washington's come on strong here these last couple of weeks, and I think he's definitely played himself into it. I really look at a guy like Nikai Davenport as kind of a situational guy or maybe a specific role. He's a good tackle breaker, maybe a short yardage red zone type of back. He's kind of been that fourth man. He was banged up throughout camp, so hadn't been able to go full go. But in years past for an Alex Golesh offense, it's been a pretty even split between 2 or 3 running backs. And I think right now I would say it would be Cobb, Mabson, and Cobb, Mabson, and Washington with maybe a little bit of Davenport sprinkled in. Not to rule out Tay Meadows or Alvin Henderson and Tyler, but those guys were the scout team earlier this week, so they're kind of further back in that group. So it's one of those things where if you look at the history of the running back position, when you play so fast between snaps, it gets even extra tiring. You don't really get a breather between carries or anything like that, or the reps you got to do, the plays with, even if you're not touching the ball, it's pass protection or it's going out and receiving and doing all that. It's blocking and all that if you're a running back. So I think it's tougher on these guys. So therefore you need to rotate more. That's kind of been the thing with Golesh for a while. They've got a deep running back room, and I would expect them to use, to go 3 or 4 deep with it, and get week in and week out.
Seems like the theme with a lot of these position groups is depth and certainly trying to play a lot of different bodies. And for a position we have not talked much about is tight end, but it feels as if that is another position that it's not just going to be one guy doing most of the work. What are we looking at tight end, and what kind of situations will make sense for some of these guys?
Yeah, I think the situation for Auburn at tight end is they really like what they've got. Alex Golesh has talked repeatedly here in this preseason about how much he likes that tight end room. And they feel like they have the tight end room they weren't able to get at USF. And, when you look at Golesh, he's a tight ends guy. People look at this offense and they think like the deep choice stuff and the super spread out splits and all that. But they will put some power to it. He is a tight ends guy. He came up in coaching really at Iowa State, where they played a ton of tight ends, and then brought that kind of physicality and that edge to what he did at UCF and Tennessee before he took the USF job. So I think with a guy like Golesh is like you want to use those guys, especially in situations where you're in the red zone, where things get tighter. You can be more versatile down there. They've got Jake Johnson. They've got Arlo Sportingham. Both of those guys have played in this league and have played well in this league. Sportingham being healthy is big because that's a second guy behind Jake Johnson who has done it before in this conference. And then I think you got a couple of really interesting guys in the form of Jonathan Eccles, who looks healthy now, and he was a guy who was kind of a red zone specialist last season for USF. Pretty big, rangy type of receiver. Maybe not as much of a true tight end as more of like a big receiver type, but then an all-around tight. And then Trey Newsome is one of those guys where, he's just super big and he's got all this potential in the world, but, it's probably going to take some time. But if he's your fourth tight end, you're looking at a spot for Auburn where you've got a lot of depth there. So I think Golesh really likes his tight end room. I think he's going to use them in a variety of ways. And these guys could be the X factor for him in the red zone where, they're running the ball, they're going downhill, they're using Byron Brown, things get condensed. Those tight ends can be kind of sticks of dynamite down there in the running game and in the passing game. So I would imagine Auburn, leans on those guys.
And Justin, we asked you about this last week when it was reported the change had been made, but is there any update on Bryce Kane at that secondary position?
Yeah, he's still there. And, he was there earlier this week at corner and wasn't with the scout team. He was actually, repping with the group. So, I think that's a position where he's probably going to stick and try to see if they can develop him there. Auburn's got more of a need for depth at cornerback than they do at running back. So it makes more sense, right? Look, when you have guys like Tate Meadows and Alvin Henderson with the scout team, you look at your corners, Kraft Richardson's been a little banged up. So, you don't have as much depth as you'd like at that corner room. So, I think Bryce continues to, do a good job of, playing his role and seeing where it kind of shakes out with him. I would also expect him to be a guy that contributes on special teams this season.
Talking to Justin Ferguson of the Auburn Observer today on Sports Call. So basketball-wise, Ferg, I did not expect to see an exhibition between Auburn and Alabama, even in this economy. Talk us through what went into that decision and just kind of the uniqueness to that.
Yeah, the easy way to say that is what went into this decision was money, and then that's it. I mean, that's basically the bottom line there. Playing Alabama and Auburn together in Birmingham is going to sell tickets. It just naturally is, even if the game doesn't count. And so this is something that, these exhibition games are designed to get some NIL money, and to help out your roster by being able to bring in, you get these outside sources of revenue. It's the whole reason why Auburn's playing in Atlanta next week instead of Auburn against Baylor, for, football purposes. Basketball's the same way. They've already been playing at, Boutwell for one of those Birmingham games. They'll come up a week later and play the BJCC. It's a money thing. It's a pure kind of money thing for Auburn. That's the goal, and it's like that's something that can be lucrative. So that's why they're doing it. In terms of being an exhibition, though, I think it's going to be a really competitive one. It's probably the best kind of look you're going to be able to get in an exhibition because last year when we were in Boutwell for that game, it was a good crowd. It was intense against Oklahoma State. That game had really kind of like a tournament feel from beginning to end. I would expect the Alabama game to be even that much bigger in terms of just, once they suit it up, it ain't going to feel like a preseason game. It's not going to feel like an exhibition. So, we could go back and forth on whether you should play your biggest rival in a game that doesn't count and what it matters. The fact of the matter is, it was a way to draw more money. Both sides wanted to agree to it. They had the money, they had the sponsors involved, and so they're going to go ahead and do it.
I just admittedly, Ferg, I already dread the conversation the day after for whoever won and lost that game and how much anxiety it will cause for one fan base, for the bragging rights for others, when it's still ultimately an exhibition months and months away from the ones that actually count. But, we shall see. Again, it was certainly something else unique. The other question I want to ask you with Auburn basketball, Ferg, was the eligibility update. I know Narcisse Ngoy, Montes Rupstavicic, they're still going through the process. Do you have any updates or what Auburn expects the timeline to be?
Yeah, nothing on a timeline. The NCAA is still going through those international guys, and I think there's going to be, we still don't know, and they've still got a little bit of time to do it. They've been practicing. They continue to, be with the team and all that. They just hadn't been cleared fully. So people are asking this week if the new SEC rule affected them in either way. It shouldn't. I talked to a couple of people this week that kind of basically said, you know what, you look at the way the rules interpreted, neither of those guys have signed NBA contracts. Montes was in the draft because of his age. He did go through summer league with the Warriors a couple of years ago, but never signed a deal. So he should be good. And then Narcisse Ngoy was another case. He didn't declare for the draft. He got drafted, kind of a surprise there, and he's got his rights stashed. He's not under contract with the Clippers. So both of those are situations where it's not like these guys have gone to the NBA and decided to come back. For example, Keyshawn Hall, a lot of people thought he was going to end up at Kentucky, the Auburn transfer, because he got this fifth year, or he was going to come back and get that fifth year once it looked like they got the green light to do so. Well, SEC comes out with this rule and says, hey, if you've signed an NBA contract, you can't come back. Well, Keyshawn Hall signed an Exhibit 10 deal with the Heat this summer when he thought, his college career was over. Door gets open. He's trying to come back in. So that's why he's currently committed to play at St. John's right now. And so, there's the difference between that. Like, hey, guy plays in summer league. Some guys who played in summer league would be eligible to come back. Some would not. There's kind of a delineation there. Kentucky trying to work that through right now with Mark Mitchell transferring from Missouri. So, I don't know of any timeline. It's kind of one of those things where Auburn still expects them to be fine. Doesn't seem like there's anything that's changed or anything's different. It's just they're going through that process. The NCAA is, really taking their time working through a lot of these deals. And I think, obviously, a lot of the chaos we've seen over the last few weeks with these fifth-year guys and with, some of these, ex-pros trying to come in, I think those have kind of been a little bit more the priority than some of these international dudes that came in kind of the normal way earlier in the offseason.
Justin, I need a review. First time making cornbread this week, I saw. Did we go box? Yep. Did we go box mix, or did you go from scratch?
That was from scratch. First time I've ever done that. I had done like corn muffins before out of a box before a mix, but I wanted to try this one from scratch, so we did it. It turned out pretty well. Pretty easy. You just gotta really find the right texture is kind of the thing, and you gotta have the tools for it. You gotta have a cast iron, which we did. So it turned out pretty well. I was a little nervous about it, but came out pretty good, and was pretty pleased with the end result.
Are you a butter or mayo on your cornbread guy?
Neither. I am not a butter guy. It drives my wife crazy. But like you get bread and stuff like that, she just gets all the butter that I would ever have. I just think, I don't really need it a lot of times. I've seen people do mayo. I think if cornbread, like every now and then you can convince me that you can throw a little honey on it, but most of the time I don't think you really need it. We were eating it with the chili that I made, so didn't really feel like I needed any of it.
Fair enough. Yeah, I'm actually not a butter on cornbread or mayo or anything like that. Yeah,
just dry.
Yeah,
a lot of fat folks.
I'm sorry. I'll apologize off air later, I guess. But he is Justin Ferguson of the Auburn Observer with us today on Sports Call. Ferg, as always, we appreciate the time. What you got going on with the Observer here as we approach the start of the season?
Yeah, a lot of stuff this week at the Observer. We got, practice observations from earlier this week, a lot of good interviews there from what Alex Golesh said about, this mock game week. So a lot of information about the latest with Auburn on the site today. Dana and I did a podcast for our subscribers where we did our boldest predictions for Auburn football season. You can check that out. We got a mailbag coming out tomorrow as well. We have some stuff over the weekend, and then obviously Monday, Alex Golesh's press conference will kick it all off. We'll be in game week. So auburnobserver.com, sign up there. $7 a month to get a subscription to the Observer, or you can pay $70 up front, get a full year, and get 2 months for free, basically, if you go in that direction. And, just go up there, sign up. Everything we do gets sent emailed to your inbox as soon as it drops, so all of our newsletters, all of our podcasts, and we're putting out something pretty much every day of the week, and that will only increase as we get into game week, so sign up there.
He is Justin Ferguson of the Auburn Observer with us today on Sports Call. Again, Ferg, we appreciate the time and look forward to catching up again on game week next week.
All right, see ya.
That is Justin Ferguson of the Auburn Observer with us today on Sports Call. We got about 3 or 4 minutes left here in hour number 1. Again, top of the 4 o'clock hour, we will have another interview. Going to be interviewing Bill Bender of the Sporting News. We speak to Bill once or twice a year, and usually get insights on what's going on in the Big Ten. Again, 5 o'clock hour today is when we will be talking Big Ten and kind of previewing that as we go through these Power 4 conferences here. But just wanted to get a few updates there from Ferg on, again, the eligibility part of it for basketball. Kind of went through some of the differences there in Auburn's guys and what has been going on across the sport here in the last week or two. Of course, again, all the major conferences now saw this, that the ACC and Big 12 joined in, saying, nope, cannot come back from professional leagues or professional contracts and come back to college. So the leagues have had a very clear and unified stance. The next step is going to be, I'm sure, litigation, some sort of contesting of some of these players trying to come back. I find it noteworthy that, again, there's no particular penalty to the player if the school tries to play the player. Now, granted, just the fact that you can't play to begin with is supposed to be the penalty. But if you look at it from the lens of what happens if you try to play that player, it's the coach that gets suspended for up to half the season. It's the school that can't vote on economic issues within the conference or matters of business within the conference. It's things like that which are, again, very penalizing to those trying to make the decisions. And so those that make the decisions voted unanimously to say, yeah, we don't need this. we don't need this happening. So, and then there's these reports that Lane Kiffin kind of ushered on, or I should say egged on, some of these players and agents to pursue this. I don't want to go down this rabbit hole necessarily, but if you want to be incredibly technical, that is undermining the integrity of the NCAA, which can be a huge no-no and a huge penalty there. So again, I think probably won't go down that road, but we're not done with this as we get ready to take the field in 2 days.
I feel like that's the motto of the NCAA these days is we're not done with this. It's just
just push it down the line. Keep pushing it down.
And not even that. It's just like, even when a decision is made, there's always litigation and there's, lawsuits and everything that comes out after it to say, no, actually our person should be able to do whatever it is that, you're not allowing to do. So it's, you're never really done with anything. I think the only thing the NCAA has been done with officially was the BCS system. I think since that, everything else has been up in the air. Like, we're not done. We're not done with conference realignment. We're not done with the college football expansion. We're not done with anything. And so it's, gosh, there's a lot of balls juggling in the air right now. And as you said, Ryan, if the reports that about Lane Kiffin are true about the encouraging, that could be big. Obviously, nothing solid is out there right now, but it's just it is a slippery slope, and I am happy that we had a unanimous decision. That it wasn't like, there are two schools that still want to do this. It was everybody. It's like, no, we're done. We're not going to do this. And so obviously it's not the end, but at least everybody that's a decision maker in the conference said we're done with this.
Right. Trying to push forward and prevent that from happening. And again, I think courts will try to rule, and could get ugly. We'll see. Don't know.
It's sad to say this is kind of the fastest ruling we've had in a while, where they've acted quickly to this.
Yeah, they're very much against it. And again, they see the long-term ramifications of letting it happen even once, even if the argument's a little bit different on this first year that the rules have changed than they would be moving forward. But we are out of time for hour number 1 of the program. Coming up in hour number 2, again, we're going to lead off with Bill Bender of Sporting News. We'll talk all things Big Ten and college football with him. That's coming up next. This is the Thursday edition of Sports Call, live on Tiger 95.9.
1 hour of our show is in the books. We've got more to come. Stay tuned for another hour of Sports Call right after the break.
On Saturdays, we all wear orange and blue. But every day, Auburn University Credit Union is proud to serve the people who make this community strong. Whether you're opening your first account, buying your first car, planning for your future, or growing your business, we're here for every chapter. Because at Auburn University Credit Union, you're more than a customer. You're a member. You're an owner. Your family. Auburn University Credit Union. Rooted in Auburn. Committed to you. To learn more, visit myaucu.org. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal Opportunity Lender. NMLS number 530633.
It's heating up at Sons Ford in Auburn with the hottest sale of the year. Now's the time to save big on a huge selection of new Ford trucks, SUVs, and cars. Whether you're looking for a rugged F-150, a family-friendly Explorer, or a fuel-efficient Escape, you'll find incredible deals waiting for you. Don't let these summer savings pass you by. Visit Sons Ford in Auburn today or shop online at sonsford.com and pick the Ford you've been wanting at a price you'll love. Sons Ford in Auburn, where the hottest deals of the year are happening now.
Looking for great deals while supporting a great cause? Visit Lifesavers Mission Thrift Store, conveniently located on East University behind Zaxby's. We're open Tuesday through Saturday from 10 until 5 with a huge selection of furniture, clothing for the whole family, books, home decor, and so much more. Have items to donate? We'll gladly accept donations at the back of the store from 10 until 4. Shop, donate, and make a difference at Lifesavers Mission Thrift Store, where every purchase helps change lives.
The Sheriff's Girls Ranch in Camp Hill is looking for Christian, mission-minded couples to join their staff as house parents. These are full-time, live-on positions. We offer competitive salary, health insurance, and housing benefits. You don't have to go out of the country to help children in need. We have so many children that need your love and support right here. If you would like to consider joining our team, please call our office at 256-896-4113 or fill out an application at boysandgirlsranches.org/employment.
You remember the burgers, you remember the buns, you even remember the ice, but you forgot the beer? Rookie mistake. Save the cookout by showing up with Blue Moon Belgian White. Its crisp, refreshing taste with Valencia orange peel and that iconic orange garnish turns an oops into an awesome. Because when the beer's this good, people tend to forget what you forgot in the first place. Blue Moon Belgian White, made brighter. Please enjoy responsibly.
The summer heat is here, and the best way to make sure you stay cool all season long is to give May Refrigeration a call. When your AC goes out or needs maintenance, May Refrigeration's technicians are trained and equipped to handle anything that comes their way. And don't forget, it's never a bad time to get your heating system checked, especially when you aren't using it. Give May Refrigeration a call today at 745-COLD. That's 745-COLD. So for quality customer service that you can count on every time, May Refrigeration, proudly serving the Auburn and Opelika area.
For lower maintenance, for higher performance, for spending less overtime, and getting more right now, for finding new places, and for getting lost along the way, for point A to point B, and every point in between. For whatever drives you, there's an electric vehicle that requires less maintenance and travels up to 300 miles on one charge. Learn more at driveelectricalabama.com.
Sponsored by ADECA, the ABA, and this station.
From the very beginning in 1907, Auburn Bank's mission has been to promote our community, see businesses flourish, and improve the livelihoods of local citizens. We have operated a simple and straightforward business model built on a foundation of sound business decisions and a caring response. Our local team stands ready to discuss your financial needs and goals. Auburn Bank, champions of you. Member FDIC. Online at auburnbank.com.
Looking for great deals while supporting a great cause? Visit Lifesavers Mission Thrift Store, conveniently located on East University behind Zaxby's. We're open Tuesday through Saturday from 10 until 5 with a huge selection of furniture, clothing for the whole family, books, home decor, and so much more. Have items to donate? We'll gladly accept donations at the back of the store from 10 until 4. Shop, donate, and make a difference at Lifesavers Mission Thrift Store, where every purchase helps change lives.
Weekdays from noon until 3 p.m. Join Tilly the Elder Emo for Flashback Lunch and all your favorite alternative rock in the afternoon. Only on Tiger 95.9 and on the Tiger Communications app.
At Southern Union State Community College, success isn't a solo journey. It's powered by something bigger. A herd of faculty, mentors, industry partners, and a community committed to helping you move forward. Whether you're earning a degree that prepares you for immediate entry into the workforce, transferring to a university, or learning a new skill, Southern Union helps you find your strength and run with it. Herd powered, performance driven. Southern Union State Community College. Apply today at suscc.edu.
TK's convenience stores have a brand new look. That's right, look for the red, white, and blue. It's Arco, American-owned top-tier gasoline, now at select TK's locations. Need great gas at a great price? TK's and Arco have you covered with the best price gas in town. American-made fuel for you and your family. So roll into your neighborhood TK's today, where TK's and Arco are as American as apple pie.
Frederick Dean Funeral Home and Crematory is here for you when you need us. With locations in Lee, Chambers, and Tallapoosa counties, serving the people of East Alabama and West Georgia since 1900. A family-owned and operated business, skip the hassle of the big corporate mortuaries. Our kind, compassionate team members are standing by to assist your family in the hardest of times. An on-site crematory, private cemetery, and a choice of facilities makes Frederick Dean unique. Visit us at frederickdean.com.
Whether it's enjoying a night in with good friends and close family or having some fun in the great outdoors, don't forget to grab an ice-cold Coca-Cola from one of your 17 local TK's convenience stores. Every sip of an ice-cold, refreshing Coke helps make whatever you're doing memorable. With a variety of options to choose from, TK's has a Coke for every occasion. So stop by any one of your local 17 TK's convenience stores today and pick up an ice-cold Coca-Cola. TK's convenience stores, always there when you need us.
You're listening to Sports Call on Tiger 95.9 FM, WTGZ Tuskegee, Auburn. Since 1995, Alabama's sports talk leader, Tiger Communications, proudly presents Sports Call. It's time to join our Sports Call crew as they discuss the latest headlines and happenings around Auburn and the entire sports world. To be part of the show, give us a call at 334-887-3401 locally or toll free at 1-888-9-TIGER-9. We're taking phone calls all show long and want to talk about whatever you've got on your mind. And now, coming to you live from the loveliest village on the plains, Auburn's first and Auburn's favorite sports talk show, Sports Call.
Hour number 2 of Sports Call beginning right now. Tiger 95.9, the Tiger.fm, and the Tiger Communications app. Ryan Lavoie, Brooks Childress, and Jack Myrick with you here this afternoon. And we are pleased to open up the second hour of the program by heading to the Sports Call phone line, where we welcome on Bill Bender of Sporting News, senior writer for Sporting News. Kind enough to give us a few minutes of his time today. Bill, we certainly appreciate the time. How are you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing well, and I know you guys can feel it. It's here, Saturday. Enough of talking what's going on off the field and what's going on it. I can't wait.
Bill, I'm going to avoid the latest lawsuits so hard with this conversation. I'm not going to bring those up at all because, as you said, we are ready for the play on the field, even if we don't know of a couple players that may or may not join these teams. But, Bill, we want to start in the Big Ten because, again, we are coming up on later today. We're going to preview the Big Ten as a whole, and we're kind of doing this series with talking about each conference on each show. And I think my first question when I look at the conference, Bill, I'm obviously curious about the top of the league and how it will slot out. But how do you feel about the depth of the Big Ten? If you take away the top 3-ish teams that have been winning these last 3 national championships, teams 4 or 5 through about 9 or 10, how do you feel the depth of the Big Ten is going to be this year?
Well, that's just it, right? Like we've spent all summer wrangling about the SEC and the Big Ten, and I think this argument can be said in 2 ways. If you slotted the top 9 in the SEC versus the top 9 in the Big Ten, probably pretty even if they went head-to-head, like a Big Ten SEC challenge. Somebody, and I live in Ohio, as you guys know. I mean, I think to me, you are judged by national championships. You are judged by how you do in the playoff. It's how the SEC built its reputation and dominated the sport for so long. And, we're not used to it up here with 3 different schools winning the national title each, much less Indiana, by the way. Like Ohio State and Michigan, I'd be like, yeah, I buy that. But like what Indiana did last year, to put that into perspective, Sporting News ranked the 20 greatest teams of all time about a couple weeks ago. And Indiana was the highest-ranked Big Ten national champion, and I still can't wrap my mind around it. So, but if you look on the field in this 3-year stretch, I point this out all the time, SEC is 13-12 against the Big Ten. So I still think it's pretty even in terms of when you talk about the whole picture.
Sure. And I think, too, again, we were down at SEC Media Days, obviously, in Tampa a few weeks ago, and, the league had some comments that were, obviously, it's propaganda week for each league whenever they have, their media days, but they certainly came out of it not looking as strong, and that's what happens when you don't win these national championships the last few years, as you mentioned. And I guess to just the point, though, of the Big Ten, because we get so enamored down here with what's going on in the SEC, we look at it from afar, and we do wonder, what are the couple of teams that can change the dynamic of the top, because for so long in the SEC, it is Alabama, and then now it's Georgia, and there'll be a team here and a team there. But to your point, to be fair, Indiana's already kind of upset what you would think of as the top of the Big Ten. So I guess I'm kind of getting at, is there another surprise to be had, or are we kind of going to work off of the Oregon, Ohio State, Indiana, maybe Michigan worksheet this year?
Well, keeping it in the Big Ten, yes. Ohio State, Indiana, Oregon, all three in the playoff each of the last two years, all three pretty loaded this year. I think Ohio State, they've kind of stood the test of time. I mean, I tell people all the time, they haven't had a losing season in like 15 years. Since the year before Urban Meyer arrived, they don't lose more than 2 games a year ever, right? So they've got it figured out, and they've got a really good offense coming back. Oregon, a lot of guys came back. When we put out our preview magazine, I kept saying to myself, man, that guy's back for them too. I mean, their defense is going to be very good. I think they got to answer the bell in the playoffs. And then Indiana, you're not going to get me to bet against Cignetti anymore. You're just not. I thought it would happen last year with some of those road trips, but I still think they have enough pieces back to, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Forget about Josh Hoover. He'll be fine. But if you look at the middle of their defense, Tyreek Tucker, Mario Landino, Elijah Hardy, Isaiah Jones, going to be really strong on defense again. And I think that's what they don't get enough credit for.
You're right. The physicality of Indiana, certainly last year, I think a lot of people down here are surprised by that. And I know you said forget about Josh Hoover, but that was going to be my next question, where compare him to Rourke, because people forget Rourke, that's an 11-game winning team. I know everyone's enamored by the Mendoza team last year. Obviously, that's the great team, but even that team was really good. So where does he fall in the Rourke versus Mendoza versus Hoover spectrum?
Well, here's the thing, Rourke, and I'm an Ohio University grad, so I was very familiar with Rourke and what he did there before he went to Indiana. And, what you saw with Mendoza and Rourke, and I keep telling people this, you saw an average of 40 points in passer rating improvement. If Josh Hoover improves his passer rating by 40 points, he'll win the Heisman Trophy. I mean, because he has the experience. The one thing he's going to have to do is cut down turnovers. And you heard Cignetti at Big Ten Media Day talk about how we're not going to play like TCU does. It was kind of a veiled shot, but they're going to run the ball. They're going to play defense. They're going to put him in position to make those throws. I think Josh Hoover has NFL talent. Now, and to answer your question, yes, from what I've heard from people around the Indiana program this fall, or summer, sorry. Fall's not here yet. But they said it was night and day, from the spring even. So I anticipate he'll have a good season.
Bill, I was looking over this article and I was reading this the greatest personalities of all time for college football. And it's an incredible list you've put together. There's a couple names that I'd kind of forgotten about on this list. Who's your favorite personality from college football history?
Oh, so many. I mean, it depends. Like, that's why we had fun writing it. There were mascots on there. There were, not one that's popular down your way, but we do like Uga and I just love the fact that there's a dog with like a royal bloodline in your conference that they like, and they track how many times, what the winning percentage is when that Uga was the dog. It's incredible. The broadcasters really hit me because I'm sure it did you guys. I mean, we're in this field, and you think about the games that Keith Jackson and Vern Lundquist and Brett Musburger did over the years. It was really incredible coach-wise, and this isn't going to be a popular answer on your show either. I always enjoyed talking to Steve Spurrier. Because I grew up around then, and even as somebody that wasn't in the SEC, you're like, you had an opinion about him, and he just kept talking. It was amazing every time he would take a shot at another school. And he's still doing it to this day.
Yeah. Yes, he is, Bill. Did you see 2 nights ago on his coach's show or his radio show, he said, well, I guess those guys up in Tallahassee, they didn't have enough money to get rid of their coach. We had enough money to get rid of ours, though. So
that's not a bad Spurrier, right?
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, too, when you grew up where I grew up in Central Ohio, you were always around Ohio State, Michigan, and Notre Dame, USC, those type rivalries. I mean, they really did bring Florida State. That was the game you kind of watched outside of that more than anything at the time. So, and he definitely helped the SEC to where it's at present day. But yeah, I mean, fun list to throw together. I didn't know if anybody stood out to you guys.
I would love to go back to what you said, the broadcasters, because I don't know if it's the modern day, if it's just because there's more people out there making these videos, but the longer you wait for college football, the more nostalgic you get for even just the near past, where I've been just hooked on some of these videos that people have been making of these super cuts of all of Brent Musburger's Saturday Night Football intros on ABC, just from the late 2000s. Like that's when I was like key.
You are
watching.
Looking live.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's just it feels like college football. You can get nostalgic on things that are not even that far, that long ago. I vividly remember watching Tebow play for Florida, and I'm already, you already think it's always already in the nostalgia type videos that you see people posting online. So I agree with you. I think the broadcasters, Keith Jackson was like right before, like ending right before I really got into college football growing up. But like the Brent Musburger, just the height of Saturday Night Football on ABC, it feels like there was something special during that time. No slight toward the current broadcast crew with Chris Fowler, but it just feels like you lost a little something for a few years after he left that primetime slot.
Well, so many good ones over the years. I did kind of grow up. Keith Jackson always had the big game in the Big Ten when I was growing up. And I have a 15-year-old son, right? And I tell him about these things. And he just made it sound like you were watching the most important thing in the world at 3:30 on a Saturday. And Musburger did that too. You have to be here because you're looking live at the big event tonight. And college football really soared in popularity nationally, not just region. It became a national sport in the 1990s. I'm going to be honest with you guys, when I was growing up through the 80s, you paid attention to the SEC with a light brush. It wasn't until the 90s that you paid attention to everything. And you had, because of cable, because of ESPN, you could watch anything. You're sitting around with your buddies watching, a Tennessee-Arkansas game. I remember doing that in college. Remember the crazy it's like an 8 overtime game with Tennessee and Arkansas, and we sat around and watched that all night. And that's when you really got into it because you had the voices behind it.
Well, and something too, Bill, that comes to mind. You're talking about the voices and some of these games that Brooks was talking about that makes you feel like it's a big deal. I think down here, I think people lament losing the CBS 2:30 dynamic because I think that Vern and Gary for so long, and then Brad and Gary, and just the production that went into CBS's broadcasts, like you knew that the biggest game in this league is at 2:30, period. And, I think that's probably what Brooks is alluding to a little bit with the ABC dynamic, where it's like it's all the same, 11 a.m., 3 o'clock, 6 p.m. I mean, yeah, you get different broadcast crews, different times, that sort of thing, but it's just boom, boom, boom all day long, whereas you got the isolated, this is a big deal at 2:30 type of thing. And I think of Gary retiring at the end of last year at CBS. And, I think we do miss some of that right now because everyone's trying to do more. And look, I love it because I love schools from the top of the sport to the very bottom of the FBS. But, I think that there's something lost when you can't make something so isolated, so special like that.
Well, Vern and Gary were the golden age of the SEC, right? I was going back and, I know here's things you guys do want to talk about, the kick six call with Vern. And I go back periodically and listen to it, not just for the play, but man, he called that perfect. And Bramlett, obviously, the late Rob Bramlett, right? Like his call, isn't it unbelievable to this day when you listen to that?
Absolutely.
So that's one. And they just made that, made it unbelievable, right? They made it an unbelievable thing that you wanted to be a part of every Saturday, even if you weren't an SEC fan. I mean, I remember watching Arkansas LSU, huge game with McFadden, the Tebow years. It was must-see TV in that 3:30 window, and I understand why you guys miss it. Now, the trade-off is, though, you do get a really good SEC game in every window, typically. Yes. The primetime games are great, and, you get to see those things. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. He's Bill Bender of Sporting News joining us today. And Bill, before we get you out of here, of course, we would be remiss to not get your opinion on the Auburn Tigers and under Alex Golesh, year number 1. Just what do you think with Auburn this season? And, you mentioned, the Florida years with Florida and Florida State, but Auburn, Florida finally get to play in Auburn for the first time in a long time. I know it's going to play second fiddle to LSU and Ole Miss that week in the league, but just what do you think of Auburn here in year number 1 for Alex Golesh?
You know what? As we get closer to the season, and we're going to do all our predictions at Sporting News. We'll have staff predictions. One trend I'm noticing with Auburn is starting to, creep into sleeper status along with Florida. Who's that team in that back half of the SEC predictions that could rise up? And those are the two that stick out. So that early season game is going to be a lot of fun. I love your coach, by the way. He went to high school right up the road here in Dublin. And his track to Auburn, pretty incredible. Good play caller, has made the rise. Really like what he's going to do with Byron Brown. And watching his press conferences, I think, you have something there. So, again, you guys know it doesn't happen overnight, but that's a really good early season game, tone setter for both of those programs. I'm glad you have it back on the schedule, and I know just from talking to you guys, you're probably going to enjoy the what out of it.
Yeah, it's gosh, I mean, what was it? 2011? Did we say it was the last time Florida came to Auburn? Auburn last played Florida in any capacity in Gainesville in 2019. That was a heck of a game, but. It's been a little while. We've been desperate for it. He is Bill Bender of Sporting News joining us today. Again, Bill, appreciate the time today. Plug your work and what you got going on with Sporting News as we approach the beginning of the college football season.
Yeah, if you get a chance tomorrow, we'll have a couple good pieces out. One on Belichick, and in case you haven't noticed, he's on the hot seat at North Carolina. And then 2, North Dakota State makes their debut. That's a program that's won 10 FCS national championships, and they're making their FBS debut Saturday against Jacksonville State. We've got a feature on them coming tomorrow. So, and anytime you guys want to check in during the season, just give me a call. This was fun.
Absolutely. We appreciate you, Bill.
I appreciate it, guys. Take care.
Absolutely. That is Bill Bender of Sporting News. Great conversation from Bill right there. Certainly appreciate that. Appreciate his time, and looking forward to everything college football coming up even this weekend. Again, as he mentioned, North Dakota State, Jacksonville State. There's a time that's a nice FCS semifinal playoff game. And now, of course, that is going to be one of the openers in week 0 as both teams in the FBS. But let's go to our first time out here of the 4 o'clock hour. You're listening to the Thursday edition of Sports Call live on Tiger 95.9.
Sports Call has been on the air since 1995.
Weather brought to you by Auburn University Credit Union. Looking for the best credit card rate in town? The rate on Auburn University Credit Union's MasterCard starts at 7.9% APR. That's right, 7.9% APR. For more information or to apply, visit one of their 3 locations or myaucu.org. Annual percentage rate. Auburn University Credit Union is an equal opportunity lender.
Rain chances increase and temperatures decrease for a change over the next few days. Highs this afternoon only in the mid-80s across the area. Yes, only. Compared to what we have had, a nice change. We'll see about a 50 to 60% chance of afternoon showers and thunderstorms developing in any one spot. Lows dropping to around 70 overnight. Friday, much of the same. Highs in the mid-80s. It won't rain everywhere, but it will rain in a respectable amount of places, with again shower and thunderstorm activity in the afternoon, and lows dropping to again around 70. I'm Ryan Lavoie for your Tiger Communications weather update.
Friday night lights are back, the stands are packed, the bands are playing, and local high school football is finally here. Whether you're looking for a dependable car, a family SUV, or a truck ready for game day tailgates, stop by Fairway Auto Brokers and find the vehicle that fits your needs and your budget. With 2 convenient locations in Auburn and Opelika, we are ready to serve you. This football season, cheer on your local team and shop local too. Visit us online, www.fairwayautobrokers.com.
Fall is calling, and it's time to turn up the volume. From the trails to the tailgate, your ATV or golf cart deserves a sound system that can keep up. Whether you're kicking up mud on Saturday afternoon or heading to the stadium for football, Jimmy's Car Stereo in Auburn has what you need to make your ride sound as good as it looks. This fall, don't just ride, ride loud. Jimmy's Car Stereo in Auburn, your destination for bigger sound, better rides, and a whole lot more boom.
Looking for a new fitness home? Look no further than Tiger Iron Gym in Auburn. Our fitness area spans over 20,000 square feet, providing ample space for all your workout needs. Featuring an AstroTurf training area, an extensive range of cardio equipment that will get your heart pumping, and we are one of the largest 24-hour free weight gyms in America. Worried about parking? Don't. We have you covered with tons of parking spaces so you can focus on your workout. And we are open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year to fit your busy schedule. Plus, we're locally owned and operated, not some big corporate gym. And you can experience all of this for just $29.99 a month with no contract. Join us today and take charge of your fitness goals. Tiger Iron Gym, South College Street in Auburn.
Southern Union State Community College is now providing English language classes at no charge to students. Courses are designed for anyone who wants to improve their English for ongoing study, citizenship tests, to improve job prospects, or just learn something new. Day and night classes are available in Auburn and Opelika. All levels of English are welcome and any student can join at any time. Students can sign up anytime on Monday through Thursday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. at 301 Lake Condi Road in Opelika, or can contact the program by phone at 334-749-8480 or email ibenz@suscc.edu.
Now I need your help to get back to the year 1985.
Check out the Flashback Lunch, weekdays from noon until 1 on the Tiger. We're playing 80s, postmodern, retro, and more. The Flashback Lunch on Tiger 95.9.
Like, I love those classics. Those are great.
I'm Trevon Reed, former Auburn Tiger football player, national champion. You're listening to Sports Call on Tiger 95.9.
Welcome back. This is the Thursday edition of Sports Call, Tiger 95.9, the Tiger.fm, and the Tiger Communications app. Ryan Lavoie, Jack Myrick, and Brooks Childress with you here this afternoon. Again, our thanks to Bill Bender of Sporting News for joining the program there just a few moments ago. And good conversation about the Big Ten, about college football as a whole, and certainly appreciate Bill for his time there. All right, let's head back to the Sports Call phone line, 334-887-3401 locally, or toll-free 1-888-9-TIGER-9. Next up,
Ward Dam Steve.
Retired Ward Dam Steve joins us. Steve, how are you doing today?
Oh, Nelly. We got a barn burner here tonight, folks. That's who I miss hearing, guys.
Pete Jackson, yes, sir.
Whenever there was a football game and it was a nighttime game, I knew I was looking forward to great announcement, and it was almost always Keith Jackson. Who was his cohort that was with him? I've forgotten.
Oh, I'm not sure that I can recall either. I know it changed over the years, but yeah, I don't know. I don't remember.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Let's see, Mr. Brooks Childress.
Yes, sir.
I'm concerned. I don't see you wearing a fur coat or anything near like that.
I've got a sweater on. Don't worry.
It's still too warm for what it is.
It's still
got
a nice,
2 layers on.
Yeah, I've got the t-shirt and the and a sweater. Don't worry.
Well, I'll just say, in your presence, because I don't want you to think I'm talking behind your back. I said to the staff, I thought they need to turn it up a notch on the temperature, inside there, and see what does it take for you to finally wear a short sleeve shirt.
Yeah, that's a great question. You know what? I can answer that. What would finally get me to wear a short sleeve shirt is 50-degree weather.
Really? Okay. So, my being a former retired life prevention counselor, I would suggest, and I said to the guys, I'll say it to you, you may need to consider, some medication for that.
Maybe. I mean, I probably need quite a bit of medication just in general.
Okay, I'm just messing with you.
Yes.
I love you guys. Okay, let's go. Hey, I love the comments from Mr. Justin Ferguson, but even more so from Mr. Is it Bender?
Yeah, Bill Bender. Yes, sir.
Bill Bender from Sporting News. I used to love reading Sporting News. And he mentioned the Brent Messberger and some other people, and then he talked about the kick six. Guys, you remember what was not said by the late Rob Bramlett on the kick six? That's Chris Davis cross
touchdown Auburn.
Goal line.
The touchdown Auburn.
Right, he didn't say it. He did not say it. What do you think happened there, guys? Because all he said was, Auburn's going to win the football game. Auburn's going to win the football game.
Yep. Yeah, he says that's the least favorite part of that call for him. He said he wished he had said that.
Did you ever give an explanation of how he overlooked the same touchdown Auburn?
Probably just an unbelievable moment. I don't recall him. He might have said it. I just don't recall it. But such a shocking moment. One of the most surprising moments I think in the sport's history. So I think it's understandable if you kind of break from the norm a little bit.
I'll tell you how shocking it was, because I was sitting in the north end zone in the nosebleed area called Section 63, which really doesn't exist. But everybody around me, and we all said the same thing. If we win the game, we completely forgotten that it was, I guess, overtime. And we thought, have we won the game yet? And so that's how kind of in shock we were of that play.
Yeah.
All right, so guys, moving on. My daughter alerted me that apparently the SEC and the Big Ten are going to not allow any people who decide to choose to go to the NFL to return. Is that correct?
That is correct, and all four power leagues have now joined in on that.
So the ACC and the Big 12?
Yes, sir. Yep.
Okay. Who's left out? It hasn't.
Just group. I mean, I don't know what the Group of Six conferences have all said, but yeah, Big 10, ACC, SEC, Big 12 have all come out with some sort of rule against it.
Okay, so maybe you already talked about yesterday. I was out of commission there. But what is the status is it Mr. Wright, who's formerly an Ole Miss player, now wants to go to Lane Kiffin's LSU? What's his status?
Bickering right now at the moment. I think his representative or attorney, is saying they can't do that when Louisiana judge already said, he can play. So they're gonna start the bickering and they might go down more legal processes. So we're not done. I'm glad that the leagues are all in alignment on this, but we're definitely not done yet.
Well, okay, so help me out with this. This is not a rhetorical question. If the SEC, who's in charge of what goes on in the SEC, says, no, we're not going to allow anyone to do it, then how can any legal recourse be available to them?
Well, if the law determines that it's not within their rights, it's
in their rights. So isn't it, Ron? If the SEC decides what the rules are or not.
I would think so, but if they don't, it gets into the whole can of worms of do they actually have the authority to make these kinds of rules when there's not employees and not collectively bargained, and do they have the protection to do that? So it really goes all the way down to the heart of the matter. But it's been well, it's not surprising. It's been frustrating to see how many challenges of how many things have occurred, and I'm not going to make any predictions on what will ultimately occur, because there could be a biased judge. It could be ruled one way and then ruled the next way the next week. I mean, but I just know that I don't think those players are going to go quietly into the night.
Okay, so this again is not rhetorical or begging the question here. And when does it end?
Yeah, I I wish I had the answer, Steve, because I'm obviously tired of it also, and it's not what I want to be talking about 48 hours before we kick off the college football season and in the FBS level. So, I do think that this case is different from cases that go on beyond this year because, as I've said, the rules changed this year. And so those players contesting to come back are saying we would not have gone pro if we knew we had the ability to have one more year, the 5 for 5. They were fourth-year seniors, which is, again, traditionally you're done, but the new rules are 5 to play 5, no matter if you play all 5 or can only play 2 of the 5. So they're contesting they should have gotten an opportunity. Now, in future years, you're not going to be able to contest that because now everyone knows you have 5 to play 5. Under this rule. And so, I think that for this part of it, you're not going to have any argument whatsoever beyond this year. I don't like the arguments even this year, but at least I could give you that argument. So I think for this part of it, I think this would be the only year we see this in great detail, depending on the outcomes of the litigation. But as far as the contesting of conferences and the NCAA, as you know, Steve, I mean, there's a new issue all the time, so there's no telling when it ends at an overall level.
Well, I'll leave this after this last rebuttal. Why couldn't the rebuttal be, hey, the NCAA has said in the past and always has stood firm that once you go into the pros, you are no longer able to return.
Right. And that, that I think is still what I agree with, and it should be the prevailing thought, and I would hope would win the day. But this is also why, because I said this maybe yesterday or the day before too, this is why when policy is made, statewide legislation, U.S. legislation, whatever, sometimes there's rollouts. Sometimes it does not become officially enacted. Just because something passes, it doesn't roll over the next day and become the law. Sometimes they have runways for it so that there's a period of time of understanding that people need to get ready to operate differently. And so if they had done that, if they could have timed it out and done it in the spring before all the NFL draft and all of that, then we wouldn't be having this issue. Or they said, that's the issue here, is that they did not get it done in a timely manner. And so they've opened themselves up for the criticism, even if I don't agree with the criticism. And obviously you don't agree either. If they could have rolled this out differently, then it would have been like, all right, everyone has their chance and now we're good. And so those players are saying we didn't have our chance to have the 5th year. We would have operated differently had we known that.
Okay, well, let's quit beating a dead horse, I guess, and maybe it'll go away. All right, moving on real quickly, guys. I saw a disturbing article. It comes from the author, Jared Dublin, from the NFL, CBS Sports. It says, study finds, at least shockingly, 25% of NFL players in a sample done by researchers at Boston Medical and Harvard, that from 2016 to 2021, had CTE. Have you seen that article or read about that study, guys?
I had not, but yeah, 25% is a large number.
Well, I'll tell you how large it is. It's only 1% in the general population that are diagnosed or after their death have had brain to be examined that have any CTE.
Yeah.
So that's a statistical significance. And they went on to say that apparently it's even a threat to people not only in college but in high school level. So I'm not sure how they're going to address this problem. I know the NFL is making more safer helmets. Is that right?
Yeah, they're trying those Guardian caps that you see. They're optional. A handful of players on each team seem to wear them. And then, that's one of the reasons, people don't like it, but that's one of the reasons they changed the kickoff rule, because with less momentum, less yards to run, the theory is that it creates less of those huge hits, less of those big-time injuries for those long run-up plays. And I think that they overall like the data they've seen in the first year or two of it. So, there's always the struggles of progress in that front. The bottom line is, we get better at the science part, so we realize the dangers more. We realize the repercussions more. But, we've always known that this sport is going to pack a punch, and we're going to try to do the best we can at it. But, there is a certain level that they're not going to ever make this thing to where there's no, big head injuries. There's no big injuries. That's a part of it.
Yeah, and of course, we've seen some unfortunate outcomes of some of these individuals in the NFL who, killed themselves, killed other people as a result of their brain injuries. That was a troubling statistic when I saw that. All right, real quickly, guys. Who do you think this? He's a PhD, by the way. Ed Fink is his name. Would pick as one of his most overrated college football teams for this season?
Overrated. I don't know. Is it an SEC team?
Yes, it is.
Is it Ole Miss?
Nope.
Texas A&M?
Texas A&M. Very good, Brooks.
Hey.
What do you guys think?
I like Elko. I like what they're building there. I think Marcel Reed's a quality college quarterback. They're all ranked very similar. That's why you kind of, I think you could poll 5 people and get 5 different answers. And so for me, it's not A&M. For me, I worry it's Ole Miss that has the 4-loss type of season, falls way off. But and heck, it might even be LSU. Like, again, I get the arguments for everyone. I'm a little bit less sold on the argument for A&M though.
Okay, well, here's what he says. And he's supposed to be this PhD that studies these stats and does all these calculations. He said this Texas A&M team doesn't seem to have a level of elite talent as last year's team. On NFLDraftBuzz.com, he says only 6 players are listed as potential NFL draft picks. And then he went on to talk about, he said, I still lean towards Texas A&M as worse than 12th in the nation than better. And he says he points out their brutal schedule. That's what he calls it. With road games at LSU, Alabama, Oklahoma, and Texas at home.
Yeah.
And he says with a total of 8.5, he says I'm predicting 3 or more losses and missing the playoffs.
And look, that could be a fair prediction. But I would say this though, A&M being around that 10 or so spot. If they go 9-3 and finish 15th, I don't find that to be a massive overrating. You see what I'm saying? Like if someone is number 1 or 2 and they go 9-3, then I would give you that. But we know the 10th place team in the country is going to finish with 2 losses. So I don't think that one extra loss, dropping 5 more spots in this league, makes you massively overrated. Because I could buy them at 9-3 is what I'm saying. I think that's understandable. I do have them at 10-2 this year, but 9-3 to me is reasonable, and I don't think that means they had a disastrous season either. So, and as far as the NFL part of it too, though, Steve, I would want to go back. Maybe Jack knows this, big draft guy. I don't remember Indiana having a slew of NFL players compared to what you would think the national champion undefeated 16-0 would be. Like, I know Mendoza went first overall. I know they had some late round guys, but I don't remember them having like 12 dudes all in the first 4 or 5 rounds the way we've seen a Bama or a Georgia or an Ohio State.
I'm glad
before.
you said that, Ron, because I didn't know how many players they had that were, as he says, on NFLDraftBuzz.com as potential NFL. So there weren't that many then. Is that what you're saying?
That's my theory. I don't recall there being a ton of high-end guys, at least.
There was only like one other guy in the first round that I remember.
Yeah. So. And we've seen that time and time again. Like, how many years exhaustively did we talk about? Yeah, there could be 5 Bama guys on the top 20 or Georgia or whatever. So, I mean, Indiana had talent. I'm not saying a bunch of nobodies, but I would say A&M would still have a palpable amount of talent compared to even Indiana last year.
Okay. Well, so you're still high on them.
Yeah. I mean, again, like I said, 10-2, one of the playoff teams. I don't think they're the best team in the league. But, I think that they win a couple of those big games you mentioned. And, yeah, I mean, the schedule's tough, no doubt about it. But I like Elko. I like what they're doing. I mentioned Marcel Reed, but they brought back their lead running back, Reuben Owens. They got their number 2 receiver, Mario Craver, who was their number 2 receiver by 14 yards last year or 2 yards last year, something like that. So he was down 2 yards to their number 1 receiver, Casey Concepcion. So I like what they're building in College Station. I think it's way better than the Jimbo stuff, and I think they're going to still have a good year.
And I know Mr. Bender mentioned something about he mentioned I guess the rotation of running backs. He said, of course, Cobb, and then he said Mapson instead of Washington. I thought, because all I've been reading is Washington is now considered to be, at least according to Jason Caldwell and Nathan King, the co-running back.
Yeah, Justin Ferguson said Mapson and Washington, but yeah, I could see it going either way. I think the reality is they're both playing. Again, when we'll operate under 3 guys, we'll get meaningful snaps at running back. And so, I think Mapson and Washington are always going to kind of be trying to have the hot drive or the hot quarter to try to get more playing time.
Do you think we'll ever see them both on the field at the same time?
Interesting thought. To my knowledge, Golish in the past has not done much to running back stuff, but Auburn certainly has enough depth and quality there to where I would not be opposed to it.
Because, my old school days, I'm used to, Brooks and Cribs being together, other people, Ronnie Brown and Cadillac. So I'm just wondering, why not do that? If they're that good, we got enough running backs depth. Give the defense more time to think about who's going to get the handoff.
It is something we have seen far less of in the last decade plus, because with the spread offenses, the thought has just been, okay, if I'm going to put 2 running backs in the backfield and I use a tight end, well, now I've got a pretty condensed formation again. That would still kind of be more of a power formation. And so much of what college has become is 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end, and a running back, and then heck, even depending on the system, maybe 4 wide receivers. So, I think that's just the way the game has trended away from it. But I don't think that doesn't mean you can't have some packages there, and you don't even have to do Wildcat stuff, because then also you could say, oh, what about a Wildcat? Well, Byram runs great. They don't need to start getting too fancy with that. So I'm good with some 2 running back sets. Like I said, I would be a little bit skeptical we'll see much of it, but we'll see if that's something that they put into the arsenal.
Okay, and finally, guys, because I've asked you a few days ago, could the Braves win maybe at least one, and you said hopefully win the series, and they did it. They did it, and not in a conventional way, right?
Yeah, last night was a stunner for an 0.65 hitter. Hadn't had a hit since June to get the walk-off.
Yeah, well, as the late Jerry, I forgot the character who played George Costanza's father, said, it's 1 in a million,
Yep.
That can happen, and that was it. So you think, maybe sweep?
They got Chris Sale tonight, and that's the Braves' best pitcher. But, for the same reason we just said, hey, Ha-Seong Kim gets the walk-off hitting under 100. Chris Sale could give up 5 runs tonight, and we'd be surprised. So, very capable of getting the sweep. It's the right guy to get it, but Dodgers still a great team, and the Braves have already checked the boxes for this series, even if they lose tonight.
All right, then. My time is up. I always thank you for your time, guys. So until next time, you have a safe afternoon and evening, and we'll see if we can try again tomorrow and maybe make a little more sense. And good luck with trying to wear a short-sleeve shirt there, Brooks.
I did pull out a short sleeve once last week, so it's not out of the rotation, but...
Well, wait a minute. Did you take a photo of it?
I didn't. No. Well, there's photographic evidence of me at the coach's show wearing it.
Hey, I have to have proof of that, okay? I just can't take your word for that. All right. Have a safe afternoon, guys. War Eagle.
War Eagle. Appreciate it, Steve. That is retired War Dam Steve joining us on the Sports Call phone line. Let's take our final time out here of the second hour of the program. This is the Thursday edition of Sports Call live on Tiger 95.9.
we have your attention, please?
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention?
We're Auburn's first and Auburn's favorite sports talk show.
My name is. My name is. My name is.
Sports Call on Tiger 95.9.
Some beers are made to blend in. Blue Moon Belgian White was brewed to stand out. Crafted with Valencia orange peel for a bright citrus taste and a smooth, refreshing finish, it's the perfect way to elevate any occasion. Served best with an orange garnish, every sip brings out its signature flavor. Whether you're unwinding, after work, or gathering with friends, reach for something a little brighter. Blue Moon Belgian White. Made brighter, please enjoy responsibly. The best high school football lives each week on FM Talk 93.9. The East Alabama High School Football Game of the Week returns for another action-packed season. Hear the best games from the area each week with myself, Brooks Childress, and the rest of the crew on the call. Coverage begins with a countdown to kickoff each game day. Hear all the action online at Tiger.fm and on the free Tiger Communications app. This week we highlight the AISA's 8-man league with a battle between the Eagles of Trinity Christian and Evangel Christian. It's the East Alabama High School Football Game of the Week only on FM Talk 93.9. Brought to you by Glenn Smith Chevrolet GMC, Frederick Dean Funeral Home and Crematory, May Refrigeration, Kim Drive East Alabama, Auburn University Credit Union, Jimmy's Car Stereo, and Dixie Electric Plumbing and Air.
Looking for great deals while supporting a great cause? Visit Lifesavers Mission Thrift Store, conveniently located on East University behind Zaxby's. We're open Tuesday through Saturday from 10 until 5 with a huge selection of furniture, clothing for the whole family, books, home decor, and so much more. Have items to donate? We'll gladly accept donations at the back of the store from 10 until 4. Shop, donate, and make a difference at Lifesavers Mission Thrift Store, where every purchase helps change lives.
Looking for a new fitness home? Look no further than Tiger Iron Gym in Auburn. Our fitness area spans over 20,000 square feet, providing ample space for all your workout needs. Featuring an AstroTurf training area, an extensive range of cardio equipment that will get your heart pumping, and we are one of the largest 24-hour free weight gyms in America. Worried about parking? Don't. We have you covered with tons of parking spaces so you can focus on your workout. And we are open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year to fit your busy schedule. Plus, we're locally owned and operated, not some big corporate gym. And you can experience all of this for just $29.99 a month with no contract. Join us today and take charge of your fitness goals. Tiger Iron Gym, South College Street in Auburn.
I'm Deshaun Davis, former Auburn Tigers football player and all SEC linebacker. You're listening to Sports Call on Tiger 95.9.
Welcome back. This is the Thursday edition of Sports Call on Tiger 95.9, the Tiger.fm, the Tiger Communications app, and streaming live on Facebook and YouTube at Sports Call Auburn. And you can also listen after the fact on the Sports Call podcast presented by Coca-Cola. Had a nice cherry Coke for lunch today. I feel like I need to do like the counter programming to Tom whenever he does the Mountain Dews. I've got to do whatever Coke flavor I had. So today it was the cherry Coke, one of Brooks's favorites also. But yeah, I had a nice one there. So got about 5 minutes left in hour number 2. Going to get into the Big Ten in hour number 3. Guys, this is all of our last shows for the week, as a matter of fact.
Wow.
So before we get Big Ten, since we got 5 minutes, want to get a quick week 0, easy for me to say, quick week 0 thought or two from you guys. 8 games on the docket. What are you most excited about? Is it just football in general? Is it a particular game? Is it a particular team? Is it a particular coach with a particular girlfriend? What is the most exciting thing to you in week 0?
Seems very specific there.
I don't know. Yeah, it was just.
Yeah, it feels like
there was
some people talk about it. Yeah.
So like something on your mind there, right?
There's a team he's trying to get us to talk about.
I did see that the North Carolina Tar Heels defense coordinator.
No Steve Belichick this weekend for the Heels. He is their DC. He's away on a personal issue apparently, so he's not going to be coordinating the Carolina defense.
Yeah. When it comes to games, I don't know. I'm just more excited for. I'm the generic answer, I'm just excited in general.
Watch a little bit of all of it.
Yeah, just kind of. I know there might be some ugly ones, but there might be some fun ones.
Yeah.
At the same time, but for me, being from the Oxford area, I'll be excited to see JSU, kind of not too far from Jacksonville, see them go out there and play. But yeah, I mean, other than that, I mean, see Florida State can get off to the right track. I think that would be one of those things to look at just because of how bad they've been, really since that undefeated season they had. They just have not been the same since that season. They've just fallen completely off the wagon. So see how things go for them. Like Ashton Daniels starting quarterback for them.
Yes, he is.
New offensive coordinator. See if they can put it together. Keep Norvell there. See if he'll be the guy for the future. But if not, could be a program mid-season. Be looking for who's going to be the next head coach.
We discovered yesterday in the ACC conversation we had, October 17th, they are at Miami, and they have a bye week. And I'm just going to throw that out there.
There could be a storm brewing,
I don't mean
and
to
it's
derail
not the
this.
ones in South Beach.
I do not mean to derail this, but would they be the best open job? Because I know Wisconsin's another one that would probably be on there. Trying to think of some other ones, but
it should be.
Yeah.
It should be. I mean, unless something unforeseen happens. Of the hottest seats going in the season, yes, it should be.
Would Clemson, if somehow they just decide to move on?
I am tempted to still say Florida State's a better job, even though reports of them not being as financially solid as they should be in their position. It's not even just Bobby Bowden and the unbelievable 90s that they had. They still unfortunately won a title with Jimbo. Like Florida State still had great years post Bobby Bowden. Dabo, Clemson was just not that before Dabo. I know they had the one great year around 1980 or so, but I would think for the world you'd still take the Florida State job and its potential. Brooks, week 0.
You know me. I'm going to find something great about every single one of these games. First off, the continuing of the Aer Lingus Classic over in Ireland. It's just
That's what they call it?
Yeah, it's like the Aer Lingus College Football Classic because it's like the
Aer Lingus.
It's like the airline, the Irish airline. I love it. It's college football, but it's not college football because you're like, we're going to throw these fan bases over there. Farmageddon last year in Ireland was a phenomenal lead up to that. I can't wait to see, because I'll tell you what, that's a battle of two coaches that may be looking for a job at the end of the year. If Belichick doesn't improve greatly, North Carolina may be moving on. If Sonny Dykes doesn't improve greatly, sure, he got him to a national championship game a few years ago, but it's like, what have you done for me lately? They have not been great since that year, since Georgia took them literally to the doghouse in that national championship game. So that's going to be fun. Can USC get off to a fun start, a rousing start against San Jose State? We've got 2 conference games in week number 1. We've got NC State, Virginia. That game, I don't know if you guys remember, that game was supposed to be in Brazil, and we've moved it back to Charlotte. So yeah, Ryan. That look on your face.
Why was it going to? I don't want to know.
Because the ACC wants to move games, just like the Big 12 did.
They want to play everywhere besides the Atlantic Coast.
And so they have since moved it back. It is in Charlottesville, but conference game in week number 0. You've also got the MAC debut, the FBS debut of Sacramento State taking on Eastern Michigan. Little MACtion in week number 0.
Isn't it North Dakota State's also?
As Bill Bender mentioned it, or North Dakota State's FBS debut against Jacksonville State in the Fargo Dome. You get the Gamecocks and the Bison battling it out.
That's a former national championship match. I think that was like 2014 or something.
So it's going to be fun. And then that you mentioned it, that Memphis UNLV game. Somebody's playoff chances potentially may be done after that week 0 with that Group of 5 team.
Yeah, I've been on that game all week. Even on Monday when we were talking Group 6, obviously the Dan Mullen, Jackson Arnold part of it. They're also going to play Alex Orji, the former Michigan quarterback. So you're going to see a 2 quarterback system for better or worse, for richer or poorer. But that we'll see what happens there. And Memphis also plays Boise State, as we've talked about. So I believe it's Memphis that plays Boise State. One of them does. So you're going to have a real group of 6 game there. And I don't think it's a whole lot different than the South Florida Boise game from last year. Will it put someone in the playoff? Well, way too early to know that. But I think it will, as you said, take someone out of that picture that we would be kind of interested in otherwise. And then, yeah, the North Carolina part of it. Let's see how bad this thing gets in Chapel Hill, man. Bill Belichick is I don't think he's cut out for this.
The worst thing
job.
is he's been quoted saying, I really enjoy coaching college football. That's the thing.
No one else has enjoyed. Well, okay, 8 teams that beat him last year have enjoyed it. That's about it. So I don't know, man. We'll see. TCU though going to try to get another one on them like they did in Chapel Hill last year. For about 5 minutes last year, North Carolina looked like they were about to be on to something, and then all the rest of the season happened.
Oh, it went downhill.
Yes, it did. All right, we're out of time for hour number 2. Coming up in hour number 3, a preview of the Big Ten Conference as we continue to preview each Power 4 conference. This is the Thursday edition of Sports Call on Tiger 95.9.
Two hours of Sports Call are finished. Don't touch that radio dial. We've got one more hour to go.
Keeping your money in a traditional savings account is like using the Yellow Pages instead of Google. Outdated and slow. Skip the small, slow returns and put your money to work with the Max Elevate Money Market. You get all the same security of a savings account, plus the ability to earn even more on your money. Get started at mymax.com/elevate or call us at 260-2600. Certain restrictions apply. Federally insured by NCUA.
Football season is here, Auburn. Let Waldo's Chicken and Beer on South Collins Street take care of the cooking for your next tailgate. We offer catering with delivery so you can spend more time enjoying the game and less time in the kitchen. Watching from home, we've got you covered there too. Waldo's proudly supports our local high school teams, and we offer convenient to-go orders for your away games. Reserve your catering dates now at a.u.catering@waldos.com. Waldo's Chicken and Beer. Let us handle the food while you handle the fun.
TK's Convenience Stores are your one-stop shop from Auburn to the Lake and Tallahassee to Tuskegee. Offering friendly service in a clean environment, there is sure to be a TK's located near you. Stop by on your way to and from work or school and pick up everything you need, from beer, soft drinks, and fresh hot coffee to food, snacks, and ice cream. Plus, automotive and household products, pet food, and an ATM in every store. Just look for the orange and blue Starburst sign and stop by your local TK store today. TK's Convenience Stores, they're your one-stop shop.
On Saturdays, we all wear orange and blue, but every day, Auburn University Credit Union is proud to serve the people who make this community strong. Whether you're opening your first account, buying your first car, planning for your future, or growing your business, we're here for every chapter, because at Auburn University Credit Union, you're more than a customer. You're a member. You're an owner. Your family. Auburn University Credit Union, rooted in Auburn, committed to you. To learn more, visit myaucu.org. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal Opportunity Lender. NMLS number 530633.
Looking for great deals while supporting a great cause? Visit Lifesavers Mission Thrift Store, conveniently located on East University behind Zaxby's. We're open Tuesday through Saturday from 10 until 5 with a huge selection of furniture, clothing for the whole family, books, home decor, and so much more. Have items to donate? We'll gladly accept donations at the back of the store from 10 until 4. Shop, donate, and make a difference at Lifesavers Mission Thrift Store, where every purchase helps change lives.
Every day we power homes and businesses in our communities, but we also power something else, bright futures for our youth. We visit classrooms to speak on topics ranging from career opportunities to leadership skills, and we help make college possible by providing scholarships to deserving students. Bright futures are ahead, and we help make it happen. Brought to you by Tallapoosa River Electric Cooperative.
whether it's enjoying a night in with good friends and close family or having some fun in the great outdoors. Don't forget to grab an ice-cold Coca-Cola from one of your 17 local TK's convenience stores. Every sip of an ice-cold refreshing Coke helps make whatever you are doing memorable. With a variety of options to choose from, TK's has a Coke for every occasion. So don't forget to stop by any one of your local 17 TK stores today and pick up an ice-cold Coca-Cola.
From the very beginning in 1907, Auburn Bank's mission has been to promote our community, see businesses flourish, and improve the livelihoods of local citizens. We have operated a simple and straightforward business model, built on a foundation of sound business decisions and a caring response. Our local team stands ready to discuss your financial needs and goals. Auburn Bank, champions of you. Member FDIC. Online at auburnbank.com.
Are you looking to buy or sell land in the Southeast? Southeastern Land Group is here for you. With over 20 years of experience, we specialize in farms, ranches, timberland, hunting properties, and recreational land. Whether you're a seasoned investor or a first-time buyer, our expert team offers personalized service every step of the way. From listing to closing, we make the process simple and smooth. Ready to make your move? Visit selandgroup.com and find your perfect piece of land today. Southeastern Land Group, your trusted partner in land sales.
Looking to put the cherry on top of the perfect meal? Honey Baked Ham in Opelika has you covered, with desserts that are almost too good to share. From our rich cinnamon and blueberry coffee cakes to southern pecan, apple caramel walnut, and more, our pies are pure comfort in every bite. And if cakes are your thing, we've got coconut, triple chocolate, and of course, a classic red velvet that'll make you wish every day was dessert day. There's no better way to finish your meal than with a sweet treat from Honey Baked Ham. Come get yours today, located at 1451 Gateway Drive in Opelika.
You're listening to Sports Call on Tiger 95.9 FM, WTGZ Tuskegee, Auburn.
Now, it's time for your Atlanta Braves morning update, presented by Tidal Wave Auto Spa. Get clean car happy at any of the 250-plus Tidal Wave Auto Spa locations today.
Braves walk it off in Game 2. I'm Barrett Sallee, and this is your Braves Radio Network morning update.
Tidal Wave Auto Spa is the official car wash of the Atlanta Braves and your go-to car wash destination all season long. Visit TidalWaveAutoSpa.com to find a location nearest you.
The Braves win in walk-off fashion and take the season series as a 6-5 win in Game 2. Ha-Sung Kim, yes, Ha-Sung Kim, pinch hitting, hadn't had a hit since June 3rd. A single to left scores Lane Thomas, and the Braves take the season series. And how about Sean Murphy, 3 for 4, his first home run of the season. Victor Medeiros gets the win. He came off the field pumped. The series is in the books. The Braves will go for the sweep tomorrow, and we've got a pitching matchup for you. Yoshi Yamamoto going for the Dodgers. He's 12-7, has a 2.61 ERA, 35 walks, and 145 strikeouts. Chris Sale will get the ball for the Braves. He's 12-9, has a 2.20 ERA, 28 walks, and 166 strikeouts. For leadoff show at 6 in the first pitch between the Braves and the Dodgers, 7:15 across the street at Truist Park, and you can hear all of it on the Atlanta Braves Radio Network.
This is the Tiger Communications Sports Report brought to you by Auburn University Credit Union. I'm Brooks Childress. Back in April, Auburn equestrian junior Avery Glenn and sophomore Caroline Olson earned national recognition as both were named a National Collegiate Equestrian Association Rider of the Year by the NCEA. Glenn was honored as NCEA Flat Rider of the Year, while Olson was named NCEA Fences Rider of the Year. It marked the 5th time an Auburn Tiger earned the recognition both in fences and flat. It was also the 2nd straight honor in fences, as Glenn won the national award last season. ESPN has released their latest mock for the 2027 NFL Draft, and it features the Falcons with a top 15 pick. The draft projects out where each team could finish based off current predictions for the season. The mock has the Falcons sitting with the number 11 pick in the draft. That would be with the Falcons finishing 2nd in the division. The worldwide leader also projects that Atlanta would use the selection on an offensive lineman such as Trevor Gooseby from Texas. O-line is a position that has become somewhat of a question mark for the Falcons this preseason following retirement of Caleb McGarry. And in other Falcons news, news, quarterback Michael Penix Jr. will not play Friday for the Atlanta Falcons in their preseason finale, head coach Kevin Stefanski said Wednesday. No decision has been made on the team's Week 1 starter at the position, Stefanski also said. Tua Tagovailoa will start Friday at his former team, the Miami Dolphins. Cooper Rush and Jack Strand will get reps afterwards, Stefanski said. Penix just returned to full practices Monday. Previously, he had not been cleared for 11-on-11 team periods after surgery to repair a torn ACL last November. Penix said Wednesday that he is in favor of not playing yet, but did say he would be healthy to start Week 1. Stefanski said he's not sure when he'll name a Week 1 starter at quarterback, though that decision will likely come, quote, whenever they tell me I have to. Don't forget that your home for the Atlanta Falcons is Tiger 95.9. I'm Brooks Childress, this is the Military Communications Sports Report brought to you by Auburn University Credit Union.
Auburn University Credit Union has partnered with Care Humane Society for the AUCU CARES debit card. It's free to you, and each time you swipe the card, AUCU makes a donation on your behalf. It's a win-win. For more information, visit myaucu.org. AUCU is federally insured by the NCUA and an equal opportunity lender.
You're listening to Sports Call on Tiger 95.9 FM, WTGZ Tuskegee, Auburn. Whether you're leaving work, cruising around town, or listening on demand, we've still got some fun left for you. To be part of the show, give us a call at 334-887-3401 locally or toll free at 1-888-9-TIGER-9. Auburn's first and Auburn's favorite sports talk show has been on the air since 1995 and is ready for 60 more minutes of fun. Now, let's get this hour of Sports Call started.
Third and final hour of Sports Call beginning right now. Tiger 95.9, the Tiger.fm, and the Tiger Communications app. Ryan Lavoie, Brooks Childress, and Jack Myrick with you here today. Of course, many ways to consume the program. Again, on our normal signal, Tiger 95.9. On the Tiger Communications app and on the website, thetiger.fm, but also now on Facebook and YouTube at Sports Call Auburn, and, of course, after the fact on the Sports Call podcast presented by Coca-Cola. Hour number 3 now, we get into the Big Ten Conference as we have one more conference to go after this. It'll be the SEC tomorrow. Again, JJ and Connor will be breaking it down with their takes on that. I believe they're going to be joined by a guest also at some point. We did yesterday the ACC. Tuesday we did the Big 12. Monday we did the Group of 6. So if you missed any of that, again, you can check it out on the Sports Call podcast. But Big 10 today. If you missed it earlier too, we talked to Bill Bender of Sporting News. He had some thoughts on the Big 10. So we will we'll go through it now. We'll do what we did yesterday, kind of start with the bottom, work our way up towards the big stories in the league. As with any big league, there's going to be a few teams at the bottom that are just terrible, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Purdue, the last couple seasons, has been, again, just awful. It has not gone well there in West Lafayette. You're used to seeing a team like Rutgers down at the bottom. You're maybe not as used to seeing someone like Michigan State, who went 4-8 last year, but they bring in Pat Fitzgerald. They are, to me, a very interesting team to see. All those years Pat Fitzgerald did it really successfully at a hard school like Northwestern. Will it translate at all to a little bit better program, a little bit better school? Michigan State's been struggling. It's been no secret. They got 4 straight losing seasons. After that really good Mel Tucker year of 2021, then everything spiraled. So they're kind of interesting to me towards the bottom of the league. I'm admittedly, I like Barry Odom, good dude, but I just don't love what's going on at Purdue. I think that's an incredibly high hill to climb, so I'm not very optimistic about them. Maryland down towards the bottom with Mike Loxley, I'm not optimistic there. Greg Schiano has now had a bunch of years back at Rutgers. They've had a couple bowl teams, which is really all you can do at Rutgers. But, I think bottom of the league-wise, guys, I think just as if the top of the league in some order there feels like a group of 3, I think you can reliably count on at least Purdue and Rutgers to be down that way. And then, Is it Maryland? Is it Michigan State? Is it someone else? Maybe. But, I think a couple teams are pretty resigned to the bottom of this league.
Yeah, it's, you brought it up with Bill.
Oh, bless you. Maybe.
Oh.
Yeah,
that
God
just
bless
hit
you.
me out of nowhere.
You got allergic to Pat Fitzgerald and green instead of purple. That's what happened.
Man, I think, you kind of brought it up with Bill Bender about the depth here of this conference is there's a few, pretty good teams and teams we think could be good at the top. The bottom is just, there's no saving it, feels like. I know you're trying to get things rolling at Purdue. I still feel like Barry Odom's a few years away from even getting that and getting it back to a bowl game, maybe a year or two from the bowl game. I'm really interested to see Pat Fitzgerald at Michigan State because he did have Northwestern, not in a we're competing for national championships, but they were in a couple of Big Ten title games when it was when it
He's coached 20 years there, and that's a hard job. I mean, I'm interested in that.
It was like what was when it was like legends versus like leaders or something.
Oh my gosh, yeah, leaders versus legends, yeah.
And so that was he had Northwestern at places that they didn't think was possible. But yeah, there's a few. It feels like that bottom part of the conference. I know there's a lot of people that are talking about UCLA as a dark horse this year, not to win the conference, but to have a nice bounce back. That Bob Chesney is out there now. There's a lot of folks that really like him at UCLA. And yeah, that bottom part of the conference. There's a few teams. Their names are Wisconsin and Maryland that we talked about on the hot seat when we talked hot seat earlier in the summer. That's like, man, if they don't get things going quick, a lot of people are going to be guessing why didn't you pull that trigger in the off season and after last season. And then I'll tell you what, Rutgers is a weird case because they're not great, and I think
always what you love to hear at the start. They're weird because they're not great.
They're not great, but it feels like Greg Schiano is like their guy. He had them rolling in his first iteration there and just hasn't been able to get them off the ground in the second one. But it feels like he's just built up enough. Like Rutgers is like, hey, we've got a football program, and that's about as much as we need to know about it. And we'll focus on other sports, maybe hockey, I guess. I don't know. Like what other sports are they good at? Basketball's not fantastic. Baseball, I think, is non-existent. Like there's
Rutgers has spent some money, and it's just done nothing for them.
It's like they say we birthed college football, and that's about as much as we need to do in our history. So Schiano, you've got it until you don't want it. That's what it feels like at least. Maybe if I talked to a Rutgers fan, they would think different, but it just feels like there's no ill will toward Greg Schiano. Even if he could go 0-12 this year, and they'd be like, okay, see you next year.
Yeah, the bottom of the Big Ten is pretty rough always. To me, it's one of those that I'm like, I just don't ever see like that fan base existing. I'm just like, how do you root for a program like this that's going through such rough times? Because it's just like you're just meat for the top three teams of the league to kind of go through every year and just beat up on and just have wow, they beat them 56-0 this week, or they beat them
big noon Saturday.
Yeah, big noon Saturday. Just look at this Heisman candidate. He threw for 6 touchdowns against Rutgers. Is that crazy? It's not. It's depressing. It is just depressing that the side because they're such a top heavy league. Like, don't get me wrong, it's still a very one of the better leagues in the whole nation, obviously, than in the SEC, but it's still just so top heavy when looking at the Big Ten. And you look around these programs like, as you mentioned, Brooks, with the Maryland, Wisconsin, what might be moving on from a head coach, might be trying to look elsewhere and try to get back to where they could be a competitive team, because we've seen that out of the Wisconsin team. They were in the Big Ten championships in the 2010s. They made appearances like that. They were competitive. They had really good squads. They ran the ball really well. And then they go with Luke Fickell, who was doing really well at Cincinnati, and just that thing just doesn't work out. It's not really going to work out. So just that job's feels like it's just about open. They just haven't unlocked the door yet. And then you look around the rest of it, it's just, as you mentioned with Northwestern, they're trying to figure that out. They, had some really good years for a while, and then they've kind of fallen off. And so I just feel like there's so much a distance from really the top 3 teams of the league, and then you get down to like another 3, and then it just falls off just from there.
It does. And again, I always want to be clear when I can make the points that this is not a bias. Again, I've said many times the SEC's been caught by the Big Ten, if you want to say past, for the short term. I mean, it could change in a year. I mean, this year could change. It's been this incredibly volatile college football landscape. But yeah, I've said that multiple times. Big Ten's caught the SEC, but the bottom of the Big Ten to me is still a little worse than the bottom of the SEC. And I mean, we don't have an SEC Big Ten challenge the way we would have an SEC ACC basketball challenge or something like that. But I would not love Purdue's chances. I would not love the Marylands of the world's chances against the bottom of the SEC. But look, I think that again, I'm monitoring the Pat Fitzgerald story. I still think that they, if we're talking these bottom teams, we'll see what Malik Washington does, second-year quarterback at Maryland, because they had Talia Tagovailoa for so long. Last year didn't go great, but they saw some promise at times, and so maybe Malik Washington can turn that thing around. He is an athletic quarterback. We'll see. To what Brooks said, I do, as we progress up a little bit towards back middle, I'm hopeful for UCLA this year. They have stunk as of late, and the Chip Kelly thing was very middling, and then he left them, and they turned to Deshaun Foster, and Deshaun Foster was a joke of a coach, quite frankly. And now they've got Bob Chesney, and, will they strike the Kurt Signetti gold? No, because, again, as with everything, Indiana's going to kind of be an outlier example. But I think it was a reasonably good hire. I think he can. I think he is going to get them in a better place. I do think their schedule is very manageable because, look, name a struggling team in the Big Ten, and UCLA probably plays them. They play Purdue, they play Maryland, they play Wisconsin, Michigan State. It's only the back edge of the schedule when they finally have their Illinois and Michigans and Southern Cals. But they don't even have someone like Penn State. They don't have Ohio State. They do have Oregon, but they don't have Indiana. Like, that's pretty darn manageable. So I do like UCLA to get off to a better than expected start and get to a bowl game. Look, Nico Amiliava made a joke of everything last off season. That was one of the dumber storylines for that year, not one of the more dumb of all time, because now this year's happened. But, will he get better coaching? Will he get back on the right track? Bring in Brian Rowe from South Carolina at wide receiver. They do bring back one of their best receivers last season, Mikey Matthews, etc. So I'm optimistic UCLA will be respectable, and I want them to be, because I want UCLA USC to be a cool game. Yes, it's not on the top priority list and of all college football, but I want all this stuff to be cool. Like, I want rivalry weekend. The last couple years, if you really look at it, it's been saved by the fact there are rivalries and they have been close games sometimes. They have not had a lot of important games. It's not been very many, this is a top 20 matchup. We've not been having good Florida State matchups in a while. We've not had USC UCLA matchups worth a damn for a little while, and like, I want rivalries like this to be like, this could be for a playoff spot. This is important. This team's in this. Like, I want that to be the case again for some of these. And USC UCLA has just not been that for a long time. And I'm not going to get my hopes up, but at the same time, I do want UCLA to improve as a program to where they get to be in a little bit better place. Let's look at some other middling teams in the league. Again, you guys mentioned Wisconsin a little bit. I know the projections are for them to be a little bit better, but man, 4-8 last season. Luke Fickell 17-21 in 3 seasons. That is not what Wisconsin expects whatsoever. schedule-wise for them. Not awful in terms of the Big Ten, except for the fact that week one's Notre Dame. And that's not the right non-con. They didn't take the Indiana approach and play nobody. They'll have to play Notre Dame week one. They will have trip to Penn State, trip to UCLA, they have USC. Their schedule's manageable. So if you want to talk yourself into that, they're not that much better of a team, but they have a schedule that is able to be navigated. Sure, playing Purdue and Maryland and Minnesota and Rutgers and Iowa, UCLA, as I mentioned, Michigan State. Like that's it. Let me put it this way, guys. If Wisconsin was well coached, if Luke Fickell was any good, this would be a 9-win team. Like this would be your prototypical Wisconsin gave up like 12 points a game. They scored 20. They're basically Iowa, but slightly cooler, and they won 9 games. And there would be no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Because we're also assuming Penn State and Southern Cal are good to some degree. That's not a foregone conclusion. It's very possible they've got no top 10 teams other than Notre Dame, and they may only have 1 or 2 ranked opponents, period, on the entire schedule outside of Notre Dame. So Wisconsin has a great schedule if you would like to buy any stock. Illinois, for example, is the complete opposite. They've got to play Ohio State. They've got to play Oregon. They've got Iowa. They do have, again, they get a couple of the bottoms like UCLA and Maryland, also Purdue. I feel like everyone in the middle is playing Purdue, so I guess that gives Purdue hope they can beat somebody instead of taking their lumps against Ohio State, Oregon, and Indiana. But Illinois' got a couple of the games where there's just like absolutely no chance. But Brett Bielema, man, he's doing things in the media I don't love, but he has righted the ship in Champaign, and 19 wins combined in the last 2 years has been a quality program.
I feel like there are certain programs, and Wisconsin's one of them. I feel like there are certain programs that you have to, no matter who the coach is, and I don't know the reasoning, I don't know the science behind it, but it feels like there are certain programs that you just have to play football a certain way to have success. Auburn, we always talk about Auburn. To have success, you've got to be able to run the football. Running back, Auburn's always had good running backs. It doesn't matter, you could bring in a coach that is, air raid offense. You could bring in the air raid, but everybody's going to be like, well, for Auburn to have success, you got to have a running back. I feel like, and again, no science behind this, Wisconsin's one of those teams that you've got to have 400-pound linemen line up in the I formation and pound the ball, and that's how you're going to have success. Brett Bielema, just recently, Brett Bielema did it. Paul Chryst did it. They got to Big Ten championship games, and they had success. You've gone now to the style of offense they're running now. You saw it at Cincinnati, that kind of pistol set, quarterback in the backfield. You're handing it off, but you're kind of spreading it out a little bit more. I don't know, again, I don't know what the science is behind it, but I feel like if it doesn't work out this year, and for Wisconsin, you do move on, you've got to go. You got to go back to your roots. And I know that's a dying art in modern football of I formation, but it's like Iowa does it, and they're winning 8 to 10 games a year.
Wisconsin was the cooler Iowa.
Yes,
they function the same. It's just that Iowa,
Iowa one game's punting.
Right. I know I have it in front of me. I know you can find it in front of you too. If you didn't know, would you like to just guess Wisconsin's offensive points per game last year?
I don't have it in front of me, so I'm going to guess like
18.5.
Okay, fair.
I like that number. I'm going to go a little bit lower. I'll say 15.2.
That's low.
Yeah.
Take another field goal off. 12.8 points a game, which is just disgusting. That is so bad. Like they started the year and they scored 17 points against Miami of Ohio. Now they put 42 in Middle Tennessee. That's great. And then they did score 27 on Illinois. Every other game, 14 or less. Every other one. 9 of their 12 games, 14 or less. That's disgusting. That's utterly disgusting. So that's terrible offense. I can't buy Wisconsin being a solid team. I can buy them taking advantage of a weaker schedule. Last team I want to hit on, and then Jack, you have a team in the middle. Shoot it my way. I did want to bring up Nebraska just because they are a middling team. This is not a top-tier team. They want it to be, and they're going to paint Matt Rule as if it is. But they ultimately went 7-6, and Matt Rule, in 3 seasons, despite the massive contract he got in the middle of last year, is 19-19 at Nebraska, which they have fired people for, and will do it again. They're going to go Anthony Calandria at quarterback. Calandria was the guy, started at Virginia, then went to UNLV, rehabbed by Dan Mullen, now at Nebraska. They had a season, it wasn't last year, they were up to 28 points a game. Man, Big Ten offense, man, tough. 3 years ago, they had a season where they were at 18 points a game flat. But schedule-wise, Indiana, Oregon, Ohio State. Whoops. So, yeah, they don't have anybody in the non-conference. Good for them. They took the Indiana approach. But, I mean, you can't do a 3 tougher slate in the Big Ten than Indiana, Oregon, and Ohio State.
And you throw in an Iowa, Washington, Illinois too. Some teams that
UW,
that could be good this year. It's rough. I don't know. Nebraska. The thing is Nebraska football is one of those programs that is historically you want to be good, and you want to see them get back to the points where they are good, and they're going to keep selling out those stadiums. Like they're good because that's their tradition. Just like Rolling Tumors is Auburn's tradition, selling out their football stadium is their tradition. They've got a counter of like some odd thousands of games that they've sold out in a row, and so it's they're going to continue to be there and supporting on Saturday afternoons in Lincoln. But man, like you said, giving that massive contract to Matt Rule, I don't like. How quickly do they already regret it going into this year? I mean, it's just you thought you had one of the best quarterbacks going to the conference when they recruited Raiola.
Yeah.
And
you mean Mahomes Jr.?
Yeah. That's why
I thought it was Patrick Mahomes when they got him.
He thought he was Patrick Mahomes
yes, he did.
when he got there. But it's you thought that, oh, maybe this is the guy. Maybe this is the Matt Rule quarterback that can get them to the spot where they need to be. Well, no, and he's gone, and now you, as you mentioned, you're going to a different guy, and you've got a rough schedule in front of you. I don't know, man. Nebraska. There are 2 teams in the Big Ten that you could give me all the hype in the world this year and say they are the national media could tell me, you, Ryan, could go to practice, you could see everything and say this team is going to be legit. And I'm not going to believe you until I see it. And that's Nebraska and USC. Those are the 2 teams in the Big Ten this year that you could tell me. You could say they've paid Tom Brady. Hold on. Tom Brady's still 40 something.
Yeah.
They've found a time machine, gone back, found prime Tom Brady, pulled him off the Patriots, brought him back to now, and said he's our quarterback. And I'm still not going to believe that they're going to be a national championship team until I see it on the field. I just don't trust them. I don't trust any.
You don't believe in the UNLV transfer
quarterback? I don't
for
trust Matt
Nebraska?
Rule. I don't trust Matt Rule right now. I don't trust this USC.
He threw 29 or 23 touchdowns, only 9 interceptions.
They're those two, and I know getting ahead because USC is featured in the top half of the league in at least preseason projections.
Yeah.
They're 2 big programs that people want back, and people will hype up and say they're back this year, much like Texas was for a few years. And I just won't believe it till it actually is in front of me and they are undefeated at the end of the year or 1 loss at the end of the year in the playoff conversation, because I'm just expecting disappointment.
That's fair. I mean, just they have been very disappointing. I think that you summed it up with both of those programs, Nebraska and USC, the last few years, really, because they started to build up expectations. Obviously, Lincoln Riley had expectations as soon as he got there. QB whisperer, did so much at University of Oklahoma. Got Heisman winners that became first overall draft picks, and brings over Caleb Williams, And since then, the quarterback position really hasn't worked out. They had Jackson Dart. He ends up going to Ole Miss, having success there. That Miller Moss didn't work out for him. They're down to Jaden Miava, and so it's just like maybe it wasn't him. Maybe he just hit a gold mine of talent at that time because, if you look back at it, you kind of can piece it back because you could say, hey, well, Kyler Murray was already a very, solid prospect at Texas A&M. Texas Tech, with Baker Mayfield, was already a really decent quarterback in that league. Jalen Hurts, he was a national champion, at least leading team quarterback, was in the SEC competing. So you could argue that maybe it really wasn't much Lincoln Riley. But I think this is a year he could prove that. And then same thing with Matt Rule at Nebraska. I don't know if they're really going to regret it, Brooks, because they gave it to him so late in the season when the things weren't even really going that well. And they're like, hey, we're going to extend him. Because I think the extension felt more as like, hey, stay here. We don't want to have to search for a head coach because that was going on around that. But still, it could be something to come back and bite them because Nebraska, if this doesn't work out with this UNLV quarterback to kind of bridge the way to the next, whoever's going to be, either a true freshman next year, or if they go to the portal, as most teams have, could look bad for Matt Rule in Nebraska.
It could indeed, and I'm leaning towards it will, and I'm leaning towards it will go ahead and start looking at this year. If he had not gotten that new contract, a 500 coach at Nebraska after 3 years, he'd be on the hot seat. So I think he's got to have a good year to ward off any sort of those negativity points because, I don't see it with him. I just don't. All right, we need to take a time out. When we come back, we'll hit on the high notes of the top of the Big Ten. You're listening to the Thursday edition of Sports Call on Tiger 95.9.
To join our conversation, tweet us your thoughts on Twitter at SportsCallAU.
Weather brought to you by Auburn University Credit Union. Tiger Rewards checking at Auburn University Credit Union gives you the tools to manage your credit, monitor for fraud, telehealth services, loan discounts, and more. Visit myaucu.org for more details. Federally insured by the NCUA, Equal Opportunity Lender.
Rain chances increase and temperatures decrease for a change over the next few days. Highs this afternoon only in the mid-80s across the area. Yes, only. Compared to what we have had, a nice change. We'll see about a 50 to 60% chance of afternoon showers and thunderstorms developing in any one spot. Lows dropping to around 70 overnight. Friday, much of the same. Highs in the mid-80s. It won't rain everywhere, but it will rain in a respectable amount of places with, again, shower and thunderstorm activity in the afternoon and lows dropping to, again, around 70. I'm Ryan Lavoie for your Tiger Communications weather update.
TK's Convenience Stores, your gotta-have headquarters. Those things you just gotta have, but don't have time to waste in one of those huge pack stores. Nope, at TK's, we have your gotta-have items with no hassle, along with great customer service, high-quality items, and clean stores. So whether you need a six-pack of your favorite beverage, milk, gasoline, or some cash from the ATM, TK's has it just minutes from you. TK's Convenience Stores, now with 17 locations to better serve you. Always there when you need us. The summer heat is here, and the best way to make sure you stay cool all season long is to give May Refrigeration a call. When your AC goes out or needs maintenance, May Refrigeration's technicians are trained and equipped to handle anything that comes their way. And don't forget, it's never a bad time to get your heating system checked, especially when you aren't using it. Give May Refrigeration a call today at 745-COLD. That's 745-COLD. So for quality customer service that you can count on every time, May Refrigeration, proudly serving the Auburn and Opelika area.
You remember the burgers, you remember the buns, you even remember the ice, but you forgot the beer? Rookie mistake. Save the cookout by showing up with Blue Moon Belgian White. Its crisp, refreshing taste with Valencia orange peel and that iconic orange garnish turns an oops into an awesome. Because when the beer's this good, people tend to forget what you forgot in the first place. Blue Moon Belgian White, made brighter. Please enjoy responsibly.
When it comes to important money matters, you matter most. At Mid-South Bank, we're a place for you to put your loyalty and trust. That's why we offer products and services to make your banking chores easy and convenient for both your business and your personal needs. Come in today at 519 East Glen Avenue or visit bankmidsouth.com to find out what the friendliest, most helpful bank in town can do for you. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Let Honey Baked Ham be your hero for all of your family gatherings. Our Honey Baked Ham is the star, but don't forget the sides. From creamy casseroles to mouth-watering desserts, Honey Baked Ham Company has everything you need to complete your celebration. Indulge in Honey Baked Ham's delicious, perfectly baked sides and decadent desserts. Just the right touch for any feast. Make your next meal easy, delicious, and unforgettable with Honey Baked Ham. Pre-order all of your favorites today or visit us at 1451 Gateway Drive in Opelika. Honey Baked Ham, where every meal is a memory.
Looking for a new fitness home? Look no further than Tiger Iron Gym in Auburn. Our fitness area spans over 20,000 square feet, providing ample space for all your workout needs. Featuring an AstroTurf training area, an extensive range of cardio equipment that will get your heart pumping, and we are one of the largest 24-hour free weight gyms in America. Worried about parking? Don't. We have you covered with tons of parking spaces so you can focus on your workout. And we are open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year to fit your busy schedule. Plus, we're locally owned and operated, not some big corporate gym. And you can experience all of this for just $29.99 a month with no contract. Join us today and take charge of your fitness goals. Tiger Iron Gym, South College Street in Auburn.
We're done paying the bills. Now back to Sports Call on Tiger 95.9.
Welcome back. This is the Thursday edition of Sports Call, Tiger 95.9, the Tiger.fm, and the Tiger Communications app. Ryan, Jack, and Brooks with you here from our Auburn Bank studios. Again, I will be off tomorrow, Monday and Tuesday. The show will not. The show will go on, including live from Suns Ford on Monday. So make sure you stop by, say hello to us on Monday, and find your next ride at Suns Ford. So that's where we'll be to end the month of August. Of course, week 0 this Saturday. Looking forward to that. But we continue on with our preview of the Big Ten. Some other schools to get to as we go towards the top. That second tier of team. I think that Oregon, Indiana, and Ohio State is tier 1. And then, if you want to say Michigan's leading tier 2, whatever. But then you've got your Penn States, you've got your Washingtons, you've got your Southern Cals. You got those type of teams in that second tier. Do you feel any of those teams are going to rise up and make the playoff? Do you have one you're more convicted in than the others? Or do you think this is going to be very status quo in the Big Ten this season?
Make the playoff. I'm not convinced on any of them making the playoff. The team that I would hitch my wagon to as having a really solid year and maybe being in that discussion, I would be between Washington and Iowa, because Kirk Ferentz and Iowa just continue to be, the stalwart of consistency. Like I said in the last segment, 8 to 10 wins a year. They're just going to run the ball right up the middle, I formation. They're not changing anything. They're going to have an elite punting unit. They're going to be one of those teams that is going to finish in the top 25. They're going to be, ultimately they'll be in a Florida Bowl game against an SEC team down in either Orlando or Tampa, and you're going to watch them either the New Year's Day or the day before. And so that's why I think you get them if you get them on that upside and get them toward that 10 wins. That's why I think they could be in that playoff conversation. Washington, though, Jed Fish, I loved Jed Fish at Arizona. He did some great stuff there, and I think he's starting to put things together at Washington too, and get things rolling there. He's taking over as offensive coordinator this year. He's calling the plays, which I think's one of his successes at Arizona where he was calling the plays. But you look at last year; it was kind of a average year. You had losses to the teams you should have lost, and then there was Wisconsin in there. You lost to Ohio State.
That was the unforgivable one.
That's right. There was the Ohio State, the Michigan, the Oregon. You're like, all right, I could see you losing to those teams, fine. And then the fourth one in there was at Wisconsin, where you only scored 10 points. But in their wins, you look at last year, this was without him calling the plays. Their win totals, 38, 70, 59, 24, that was against Maryland, 38, 42, 49, 48, 38. They're putting in some offensive numbers in some of those wins.
I like Damon Williams, their quarterback.
He
was good last year.
He was, and he's back again this year. It was the fact that when you went up against the elite teams, the Ohio State, you scored 6. The Michigan, you scored 7. Oregon, you scored 14. That's where you went up. When you went up against the elite defenses, that's where things got a little hairy for them. But I think that if you could straighten some of that on the defense or on the offensive side and be more consistent scoring those big numbers and consistent scoring at a better clip against the more elite teams, I think you've got a shot. And good for them is you look at their schedule and they don't play one of those top 3 teams that you mentioned, Ryan. They don't play the Ohio State, the Indiana, Oregon till the last 2 weeks of the year. It's Indiana and Oregon at the very end of the year.
That's a heck of a way to end, though.
And you could go from they're definitely in the playoff to
2 in a row.
Especially if they drop something like a Wisconsin game somewhere in there. Say they drop to a Nebraska or a Michigan State somewhere or Minnesota early in the year.
Yeah,
then you're
Southern Cal, they play a lot of the middle.
That's true.
They don't play much bottom. They play a ton of the middle.
And so I think that it's and to start off with, I'll tell you what else is you don't travel until October for them. You get Washington State, Eastern Washington, Utah State, Minnesota at home.
Yeah.
And so you could start out 4-0 without even leaving your the confines of Seattle before you hit that USC game. I like their schedule. I like their quarterback. I like Jed Fish calling the offensive plays. I think they're a team that could potentially be in that conversation.
Out of context, I like fish.
Salmon or trout?
For me, looking at that, any of them to be in the conversation, I just feel like there's 3 that's like at the end of the day that really are going to be solidified in there. And then the next 3 or 4, you could say, I just feel like there's things that need to be proven to me for me to fully buy into, say they're going to be in the conversation. They're going to be a bubble team come playoff time. They're going to be a team that be in that conversation. It's hard for me to say because a lot of them is Michigan's got a new coach, Penn State's got a new coach. I know you're all talking about Fish with Washington. Iowa has done it for a while. But it's still. I just have to see the product done. Iowa, we've seen it every year, but it's still they're just not a playoff team because their offense isn't there. They're a good defensive team. They're known for just punting the ball because that's just how their games go. It's a low-score ball game. And then for Michigan, obviously goes through a whole debacle off-season type thing to leads to your coach being moved on, new coach brought in, same thing. Penn State in a different way. They move on from James Franklin pretty early on, and now they move on to a new era. So for me, I just have to see it get it done. Obviously, if I had to pick one, I would probably go Penn State just because the level of talent that program can get in the door, and it's hard not to believe that they will be back there if it's just led properly. So, but at the end of the day, right now, it's just those programs. I have to see it get done. I have to. I know USC is one of those programs that people have been high on this offseason, thinking that they could, finally get in, finally be into the playoffs. Again, I have to see it happen because just something we just haven't really seen out of Lincoln Riley there in Southern Cal.
And you guys mentioned Iowa. By the way, for those that don't know, Hank Brown trying to win that starting quarterback job at Iowa right now in a race. They have been better since they fired Kirk Ferritz's son. The last 2 years, they've been around 28, 29 points a game after all those years in the teens and that sort of thing. So, but yeah, typically not enough offense there. I just don't. Again, you always wonder about Michigan. I don't love the Whittingham fit. I don't know what it is. I just don't think they're going to get maximized output out of him. I don't think that he's going to be quite the same than he was at Utah and, just older down the road. I mean, I could be wrong. I know Bryce Underwood's going to have high expectations and, it is Michigan, but, they're going to need that Oklahoma game badly. with everything they do in the league, Penn State, Indiana, Oregon, and Ohio State, that's everybody. They got them all. So they got to win that Oklahoma game immediately out of the chute. And, as far as Penn State, because we've not really mentioned them, they're going to have Rocco Beck, their quarterback from Iowa State, bringing him over with, of course, Matt Campbell. So I don't really know what to think with Penn State. I've been including them in the conversation as a solid team, but, at the same time, it's very possible that they get to Pennsylvania and that they're not anywhere what James Franklin was for most of it. I mean, that's a possible outcome too. I know we haven't gotten to the top of the conference yet, but we do need to squeeze another phone call in here on the Sports Call phone line, 334-887-3401 locally, or toll-free 1-888-9-TIGER-9. Last up today,
Anthony from Auburn.
Anthony joins us. Anthony, how are you doing today?
Good, and you guys?
Doing all right.
I was listening to y'all earlier, and you had the guest on, and he was talking about, he was really excited about his exhibition game of basketball and talking about the money that it would generate, and and y'all talked about, some fans will be on this side or whatnot if you don't win and bragging rights. But how much longer now will you think that somebody's going to get the right language together, sit down, talk to the SEC, talk to NCAA, and convince them that perhaps it's time for some kind of preseason game? Let Auburn play Alabama, and look at all the money that can be generated from that. And some of that can go to a nice, worthy charity to, make things really look good, put the ice on the cake, so to speak. And you can get you some extra NIL. You can get real good extra NIL money in a situation like that. Not only that, look at the looks you would get in a game like that. You really know just about what you got that spring by playing something like that, and the things you have to work on going into preseason camp, going into fall camp.
I'll never say never in college sports, but at the same time, I think it's pretty far out there because one, I still don't see a huge appetite to play. Spring might be a little different, but we've not seen enough traction on these teams actually wanting to play another team. I know some coaches have mentioned it in theory, but we've really not gotten any closer to it happening. And I know you mentioned the NIL part of it. Well, one, they will not be giving it to charity. Very greedy, and they're not going to do that. I wish they would, but they would definitely make it about NIL for their own teams. But also, I think you'd have a lot of pushback from just in general. You're going to play your arch rival in a game that should mean everything but means nothing, but kind of means something because you're still playing them, but it's in March or April, and it would be very, very odd. So again, I never say never, but I would still be on the very surprised side if that were to ever occur.
Well, you call it odd, but the basketball team is going to meet. That's going to generate cash. It's going to generate excitement. Oh, let me finish. It's going to generate excitement, and those guys are going to get at it, and they're going to have fun. That same fun and everything generated in that can be translated and go right on the other side as well. And you can't sit here and tell me that spring practice, everybody want to continue to hit each other, and then, you'll play a little 8-8 game or whatnot. Man, those guys would love to have an opponent versus just keep on going against yourself. I tell you, you're entitled to your own opinion, but I tell you what, just like that guest said, money, all you got to do is give it time. Certain things that might not have done years ago, things are changing, man. People are found a way they can make so much money on top of money, and take money and put it in places and make more money. All you got to do is give it time. It's on the way. You just watch. It was a time where we can't play 9 conference, but you're playing 9 conference games now. At some point, I believe you're going to play 10, and they're going to extend that thing to a 14-game season where you can pick up a couple more of those non-conference games or whatnot. All you got to do is watch. More money being made and where you can figure out what to do with some money. You can't hold it back. You just can't. All you got to do is watch. I think the fans really love something like that, some kind of fantasy matchup like that. Like I said, first quarters be all 1, second quarter 2, and then the third and fourth quarter 3s and 4s, and everybody balanced. You won't have a drop off anywhere like that, I don't think. But only time will tell.
Right. Again, as I said, I never say never. I just think there's more hurdles in the game of football than there are in basketball or any other sport because of the contact nature of it. Some coaches are very conservative with what they want to do in terms of, if we play a different team, what are we going to put on film? What are we going to, if we're going to jeopardize an injury, are we going to, show stuff that we don't want to be showing to our arch rivals. So they're just more protective of that kind of stuff. I agree with you. It'd make a ton of money. There's no doubt about that. But, that at some point, some of these guys are protective of some of the things that they already have in place. And, again, again, I understand where you're coming from with it because, again, who would have thought this 10, 15 years ago about an exhibition like this? So, again, I get it, and that's why I'm saying I have no idea what the future holds. But I think they've got to start coming around to playing anyone other than themselves first before they consider the magnitude of having the greatest rivalry in the sport be played, just for the money side of it in April. I think that's not necessarily a home run for everybody. Would people go? Yes. But it'd also be just, again, another odd occurrence if we're doing this in April just to make money, and everything about the sport's making money. And I get that. But I think it wouldn't sit well with everybody.
Well, I'm not saying just to make money, but like I'm saying, look at the reads you could get. Like I'm saying, if you break it down like that, everybody gets a quarter. That way you ain't overplaying everybody. You can come out with your whatever. If you want to keep your playbook vanilla, if you want to say that, or whatnot, basic, you can do that too. But hey, if you got a tight end in your offense and you throwing pop passes or a tight end drag or a tight end curl, or you throwing quick slants or whatever, you running a dive or you running a whatever, I mean, that's just what you're gonna run. I mean, nobody's asking you put 5 receivers out there and show them that, or some kind of trick plays, or all the other bread and butter stuff you might run. Well, nobody's asking you to do that, but you can come up with some. Or whatever you're running, if you got the same offensive coordinator for the last 2-3 years, then whatever you're running is what you're running. You ain't running much more different than that. I mean, you think about it. But it would be a good way to get a good read on what you got. Players would love it. You can have a trophy or whatnot you give to the winner. You can do a lot of things. I mean, it could not only could it make a lot of money, but some of that money can be given to a charity. It can be. You can't never say it can't. It can be. You got to want to give it. And then plus you can get you some NIL money out of that too, and everybody can be happy. I think, every one way to find out is to try it and see whether that works. But and then you still gonna have your big game at the end of the year. It ain't gonna take away anything from that.
Yeah.
But the thing is, this is what it all boils down to. That ain't nothing you want to see. That's where the problem is. That ain't nothing you want to see. But some other people might want to see that. But anyway, that's my 2 cents on that. But we'll see if it happens or see if it don't. But I believe it's headed that way. Basketball just the first indication of that. Baseball will be next and everything else. All you got to do is sit and watch it. We'll talk to you later.
Anthony calling from Auburn is combative as usual, and as sure of himself as usual. But we'll see. Again, it's not just me, but the world revolves around Anthony sometimes, so we get that. About a minute or two left here in the program. Got to get to the top of the Big Ten real quick. Again, guys, Oregon, Indiana, Ohio State. Again, you feel good about all 3 being in the playoff?
Yes.
Yeah. My only question would be, does Indiana take any sort of step back after not having Fernando Mendoza? But
their schedule's pretty easy.
Their schedule's on the lighter side, and like we talked with Bill Bender a little bit earlier, you got to be done doubting. You got to be done doubting this Indiana and Kurt Cignetti and anything that they do. So I would say yes. I think all 3 of them should be in to the playoff, and all 3 are playoff contenders. My only question would be is if Indiana takes a step back, but I'm not gonna sit here and say they do, because that would be doubting a what seems like a really, really good football coach.
Yeah, you can't doubt Indiana now. You can't really. It's really not even necessarily. You just can't doubt Kirk Cignetti. The saying, "Hey, Google me." He's won everywhere he's at. He continues to do that. He did that. Year 1 didn't obviously win the national championship, but won without a Fernando Mendoza. Got into the playoffs without a Fernando Mendoza, and I think people have to remember that part of it. So they're still, a big-time program. They're building a different way from other teams. They're not going through the recruiting cycle and necessarily attacking that hard. It's the transfer portal, and that's just the argument of roster building that's going to take place in the years to come. We've talked about during the offseason, talking about recruiting. That's how Cignetti's done it, and he continues to do it. Had the number 1 recruiting class or transfer portal class this offseason. See how that turns out for him. See how that continues to build.
As we were talking about earlier with Bill, again, he mentioned Ohio State just doesn't lose. They don't lose more than a couple games in a year. So you love their chances of being in. I'm with you, Jack. I think Indiana is, with Kurt Signetti, I'm not going to doubt the guy. I think that they're going to have a really good all-around football team again. And, I wonder if it's Oregon's year because we've got 3 straight Big Ten national champions of 3 different schools. The most primary one, the most competitive one not to win one of the 3 is Oregon now. And so, Dan Lanning's young. I'm not going to start the when is he ever going to win it deal. Still way too early for that. But, they've been knocking on the door. They felt great about Dante Moore coming back. That was a little bit of a mild surprise. Thought he could go to the draft and be one of the first quarterbacks taken. So I wonder if Oregon can step out and separate themselves. This year they do go to Southern Cal and they do go to Ohio State. They do not play Indiana in the regular season. They do play Michigan at home. So they got some of them. That Ohio State game will be very interesting. The thing is that they did beat Ohio State 2 years ago in the regular season, just did not translate into the postseason. But that's going to do it for us here on this Thursday edition of the program. Jack Myrick, thank you for being here today, sir. We will see you again next week.
See you then.
And Brooks Childress, thank you for being here, sir. We will see both you guys out of the high school game of the week on FM Talk 93.9 tomorrow.
Tune in. It's going to be a great one.
Absolutely. That does it for us here on this Thursday. Again, I will be off the next few days, but the show continues. JJ Jackson and company will lead you for the next few shows. Appreciate Bill Bender and Justin Ferguson for joining the program today. As always, we appreciate all those that tuned in and called in. For Brooks Childress and Jack Myrick, my name is Ryan Lavoie. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.